Broadcasting from the psychiatric hospital called Earth. I am Maximum Doubt, your host tonight for Architects of Humanity. We have more clues from the Architects of Humanity. Last night was a great stream. A lot of people came on. Very good conversation between men. And when I think about all of the evidence that we have to show creation is a fact, it is just to figure out how. We're not going to figure out who, but how we were created. What is the method? What would be the first types of human, which we start to see the science is pointing toward an albino form. Going even deeper, more clues, I have presented it before, are the animals, the animal kingdom. The entire spectrum has albinism in it. And if we speculate on that scientific fact, it really brings into question maybe not just a release onto the surface, but possibly that the surface was, of course, more clouded, something shielding the intense solar radiation that we see today, or possibly the Solaris, the star that we see closest to us, wasn't as intense. The radiation was less. Therefore, somebody with albinism could survive as the norm. If they turn up the heat a little, then we would have changes. We would have adaptation to that environmental pressure. Remember, evolution is a hypothesis that is extremely unscientific, has been caught in several lies, and I will present a lot of those if it comes up. But going forward in the direction of science without any religious beliefs on either side enables me to cut through all of the mental filters that we have been soaked with since we were younger. So yeah, it gets to a point where I wonder myself. One thing is, like I said, when you go down that dark hallway and you put your hand on the wall, what it's not. That is not the hallway. So we see that you can guide yourself by knowing, okay, that's what it isn't. We might not find out what it is, but at least we won't be on a wild goose chase, which is very important. It's extremely important to know what it's not. Knowing what you don't want. I mean, people can look at it in many aspects of life. Dating. People know what they don't want. So now that gives you an outlook to search for what you do want. So in science, when we look for human origins of life, what it couldn't be, what is improbable, chance, things happening by chance, that's improbable. The entire lingo, they had to create like a lexicon for the religion of evolution, like an evolutionary newspeak or doublespeak, to where all of these things, common ancestor, horizontal gene transfer, divergent evolution, convergent, co-evolution. Co-evolution is hilarious. It's like when we see the two things that need each other, oh, they co-evolved, really? So two things, the wasp and the flower co-evolved, right? The bee and the flower. And I'm talking about certain bees that are specific to a certain flower. Let's take, for example, the vanilla bean. So, of course, vanilla is not a tree. It's a vine that grows on top of a tree. Could call it parasitic, maybe symbiotic. I'd have to look into that. But there's a special bee without a stinger that actually pollinates that plant. And the invaders that had came there, Mr. X, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure, bro. Yeah, man, this is a good stream. I got some stuff from from a couple of these books and ideas. There's one called Bones of Contention. Oh my goodness, man. It destroys every single fake humanoid fossil that they try to bring in. Just brutal. I was noticing some stuff a while back. I'm trying to think of the researcher's name. He's a specialist in skulls. And he was showing how when they find these fragmented skulls of apes, they will separate the bones to make it seem like it has a larger cranial capacity, saying, oh, well, look over here, this one has 900 cc's compared to the regular one that has 700 cc's. The deceit and lies are so disgusting from these paid liars that are employed to push the religion of evolution. It's pushing. I'm basically a detective, a forensic detective, but the human form requires no less than a forensic investigation. But to see these channels that are acting as if they're scientific and they'll shame anybody, this is horrible. That's some like Nazi propaganda. That's pink swastika type stuff. Clearly. But we go forward, seeing what we can find with science and understand that it points towards the supernatural, the conscious, non-corporeal spirituality, the part of us that doesn't exist in the physical world, which is amazing. Imagine teaching that. And, you have children where they're going to ask certain questions. Sometimes they won't. I wonder if people let children grow up freely and teach them stuff about the natural world, if they would ask the question, where do we come from? How did we get here? How were we created? What was life created? Instead of getting a stupid answer, an ignorant answer, or something that's preconceived, they would actually get an honest answer. And giving them an honest answer might actually influence them to grow up to be an honest human being. Now, sometimes you don't want to say the truth to some people. If you got a choice between being right or being kind, most of the times I will choose to be kind. If a person is asking for the truth, well, I'll give it to them. Sometimes people can't handle the truth. And if we notice that, we can prep them for it and say, look, this is going to shake the foundations of what you believe in. Are you ready for that? Mehdi, what's up? The only reason for that deceit is greed and egos. Yeah, greed and egos, I mean, it could be, it's like a control mechanism. The ego of thinking that one is better than another. One is, oh, this person is more advanced. They are really pushing to push anybody with any bit of color, melanin creation, anybody that has the armor to protect them from the sun. Man, they're trying to we've already seen, it's like a battle where it's like just psychological battle, a physical battle, and just anything to demoralize, diminish. It's sad, man. It's really sad. And believe me, if they ever pull the finger up, the thumb off of those people, they'll be coming for the rest of the people. We see that today in America. I mean, look at what's in the so-called White House. That's always been there. It's not saying that the guy that's in there now, they've always been that way. And somebody says that they would date their daughter if it wasn't their daughter from the first time. When I seen people didn't say nothing, I was like, wow. Making fun of disabled people is unacceptable. That's the same thing Hitler did. Hitler did worse. He offed them. And that's really messed up. So when he did that on the first term, I couldn't believe people even followed that. But we have disabled people that will actually not care about that. That's what shocks me, to be like, whoa. But then again, we have Black people that support evolution. So they basically embrace the ape theory and maybe not knowing that they're the ones that they're pushing into that ape theory. Mr. X, what's up, brother? How you doing?
It was good. I'm glad, I have my nights off, and I'm glad to see you streaming. Keeps me
Always
awake,
a
and
pleasure.
I get to enjoy it. So I'm
Thanks, man. Always a
looking
pleasure
forward
having
to
you.
your work. I think you're doing some great work, MD. Great work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I figured you would really like this. Like you and a few others, but definitely yourself is more interested in the same things I'm interested in with these evolutionists, man, that come out this whole fairy tale of these fossils, from ape to hominoid. I was looking into them and I had found it a while ago. I couldn't find the video again, but oh man, the guy's name. He's a skull expert, and he was showing it was ingenious how he figured it out. He said, "Wait a minute, these skulls that you could piece together, and you're going to try to connect the pieces of the skulls together to make a proper um, model of it. They spread it out." And they put the little bit of cement and stuff. And he said, this is like intentionally deceitful to make it look bigger. And that's how they're getting the lies of saying, oh, look, this is a skull of an ape, whether it be extinct or not. But then these other skulls that are basically apes that are cracked up and broken, they'll spread them apart wide and then they'll fill it in with like this filler. And you say, wait a second, these are like smooth parts that aren't part of the original pieces. Why did they make them wider? And that's when they say, look, it's gradually getting a bigger brain capacity until it got to where the humans are. I mean, just brutally deceitful. And if somebody doesn't look at it like a forensic scientist or a detective, it's very hard to figure out. The Neanderthal bones, I think you'll really find this interesting, is
Hmm.
that they the eyebrow ridges and certain bones that never stop growing. I forgot the guy's name. I think it's Cusio. I forgot his first name. Something Cusio, Jack Cusio. And he said, no. He said these bones don't stop growing. These eyebrow, the brow ridge, and stuff like that. They'll grow until you die. He said these skulls are showing what he thinks is and he's I think he's an orthodontist by profession. He was saying that these are bones that don't stop growing. So it seems that those skulls are from people that are at least 200 to 300 years old. And that explains it like pretty well. He showed how the thickening of the bones over time. And I was like, wow, this stuff is really lining up. Because just the eyebrow ridge, when you look at that, you say, wait a minute, if we extrapolate and say, okay, normal eyebrow ridges of a person that might pass at like 100 or 90 or even 80, if we were to show like, okay, if it keeps growing, if it's growing in an increment of like, say, 1/10 of a millimeter say every 10 years. So that means it's going to be a millimeter more in 100 years and 2 millimeter more if it grows at that rate. So
Hmm.
basically it was like figuring that out to say, wait a second, if a human lived to like say 300 years old, this is what the skull would look like.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And it explains how people were saying in certain religious texts that people lived to an older age.
Hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. Noah was supposed to be 700 years old, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know. He is
And
very
this,
old.
yeah, this could be a conservative estimate, because it could be from 300 to 600. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
just keeping it conservative. Um,
That's why I say the Bible itself, I think, should be used as a historical reference because there is some value to be gained from it. Whether or not you agree with Christianity or not, I think leave that out of the equation. But the
mhm.
Bible, historically and archaeology wise, it's been very accurate, very accurate.
A lot of
Um,
stuff. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and even just recently, I think the Pool of Bethesda in Israel, they just recently discovered that, like what, 20 years ago, or it was a very recent discovery, and before it was considered not to be non-existent, like a fictional Bible story, but it turns out it was there. all along. So there's a lot of supporting evidence, even for the Hittites. I know that for a long time was considered a myth,
Hmm.
the Hittite civilization. But they discovered that it was a real civilization. Or, they were able to dig up, I guess, the coins or the different artifacts from that actual civilization that did exist.
Hmm.
And one thing too, I was looking up evolution about, how when Charles Darwin came out with his theory, I believe it was around 1830s that he came out with his theory, 1838. They're saying in AI that he came out with the theory. And is it just coincidence, or that in 1838 or around the 1800s, especially the late 1800s, Britain and their conquest of Asia and the West Indies, the world, the British Empire, so to speak, was beginning the colonization of all these different countries. Is that a coincidence that somebody from England would come up with this theory of evolution and the favored species or so forth, the superior species, and at the same time England was embarking on a conquest of global domination? I don't think those two are coincidental. I think they coincide with each other to sell to the English people that we're superior and we need British dominance throughout the world, colonization and the destruction of all these different, tribal people throughout the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it was clearly, it seems like something may have been, fueling the British Empire, like the royalty monarchy, because
Hmm.
their peasant class was like brutally being oppressed.
Right.
A lot of people, Gary Null actually did something about 20 years ago where he was showing they would take like 3, 4 year old kids and bundle them up and use them as chimney sweeps. They would lower them down the chimney, and the bundle would scrape the soot off, and they would do this until the child expired.
Hmm.
I mean, horrific history in Britain. Grape was basically legal, like we said. If the woman didn't get pregnant, she couldn't even say anything. It's like, I mean, it's just barbaric in that sense. And then something like Alan Watt was saying from Scotland, I think he was the other one. He was saying that the same thing that was from Rome and Greece and Egypt was going to use Britain as the nucleus to rule the planet. And David Icke had said that too in his book Children of the Matrix. He said it always boggled him he's like, how does this little island take over the planet? It just doesn't
Hmm.
make sense. And we see that they must have been fueled by something possibly non-human or more than human, maybe human with extra abilities. I looked up some stuff on bones. There are people on Earth, a small percentage, that have bones that are stronger than the average person. This is a fact. They have some people where their bones are almost unbreakable.
Hmm.
Yeah, and this is a fact. Anybody can look this up. It tends to have a little more calcium and certain strengthening agents uh, that fill in. I think it was like microfractures. It happens to a lower extent with people that stress the bones through exercise, through repetitive trauma, like how martial arts do it, if it's done in a way that doesn't overexert them and gives it time to heal into those microfractures, creating a much stronger bone while getting the proper nutrients as well. But there's people just naturally born with stronger bones. I think it was like 6 to 8 times stronger than the average human. And, this is another like, wow, there may have been a template from us that was much more stronger.
Yes.
Um,
I
yeah,
believe there was. I believe the first humans created had a superior DNA, and since then, our DNA has gotten weaker. We've digressed, from the original blueprint.
that's a very, that's a very realistic hypothesis. Michael Cremo wrote a book about that called Human De-Evolution. He called
Yeah.
it Devolution. And, to kind of like, I guess to let them know, like, look, they already know. A lot of scientists will bring out that there's no gain of function. There's always a loss of function.
Yes.
And these, I mean, like fake Dave, and there's another guy, he's a Russian guy, Petrov or something. I mean, the religious doctrine of evolution they follow, like he had a video like, oh, birds, now there's a clue that tells us the key to consciousness. And I'm like, these guys are just horrible.
You know what's sad about guys like this is if we were a lot, let's say this was 100 years ago or 50 years ago, maybe longer than that, but during Jim Crow, these are the type of guys that would agree with the law. They say, oh yeah, the law's right because that's what it says. That's how zombified these guys are. These are the modern day zombies of the past. You wonder why did people agree to this? So, why were people so bad back then? But this is the type of people we're talking about. They just go with the system. They go with what they're told, and it's sad. You know,
Yeah.
they
And
can't think
they'll
outside the box.
Yeah, and they'll push it and push it.
Hmm.
It's crazy. Medi says, "Good to see you, Medi." Says, "I thought as a kid I knew what the church told me and knew what the school taught me. None of what they said sat right with me." And that, yeah,
Understandable.
I can understand that. A lot of people, especially with the predatory stuff in the church and the predatory stuff in school.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
not here to defend the church in any way, shape, or form. That's not my position. Just because I'm a believer in a higher power, and if you want to call it a God, has nothing to do with defending the church. I don't defend the church at all. Because I think there's a lot of
exactly.
hypocrisy in it. A lot of hypocrisy. And I don't even belong to a church. Why? Because it's not preaching the stuff that I believe in, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah. It's like we're just saying, look, the Bible, other religious scriptures have truth in them. They have
mhm,
some stuff that line up perfectly with scientific fact.
it does.
And that doesn't say anything about supporting the atrocities that happen in these churches. Have
Absolutely.
evolution theorists ever been able to show the evolution animal traits as they form? No, they haven't. Yeah.
Nope. Just takes a miracle of time. Time is the key. Millions of years. That's the only way these things happen. Not in a lab, not being tested, not repeatable, but millions of years. So that's their answer they'll always give you.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Yeah, yeah. There's no Medi saying, maybe we misunderstood the lifespan of people back before we tracked those stats. I think, see, we've all been conditioned to think older people weren't as smart as us, like we're the smartest thing in the world that ever existed, which just doesn't add up. So yeah, yeah, the stats in this valley, I wouldn't say more evolved, but they're older than previously thought. Definitely. Mr.
Mhm.
Sidewinder, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Always a pleasure, man. Timbo, good to see you, bro. Cuban fighter Yoel Romero, I remember him commented that yes, he must have been because his eye, his orbital bone. Yep, he couldn't be roids, but he's definitely built different. Yes, and you know what? There is scientific evidence that are saying certain African phenotypes, which lack for a better, because it's not African, we don't know, we're being classified as something different, but have tendency to have a little stronger bones, like a little higher of a calcium content. And could that coincide with being on the surface longer, getting a stronger a melanated skin to protect against the sun, and maybe the bones adapted to the surface to where it was a little stronger. I remember seeing that with Yoel Romero. I definitely do. Good point, Timbo. Mark, good to see you, man. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I'm just heating up some water. But yeah, bones of contention is really deep, man. It's really deep. You know, there's a lot of stuff that line up. There definitely is. A lot
I'm
of
glad you're seeing the supernatural aspect of it because, like you said, the beginning of your introduction, where you said it's got to be supernatural, which it is, no matter which way you cut it. It's supernatural, and there's not everything. Not science is a great branch of knowledge, but it can't explain everything about a reality. That's just the limits of it. That's the limits of it. It can't explain everything because we know our beginning was based on a supernatural event.
yeah. Yeah, it would have to really like get into. I think it would even be beyond the quantum physics level
Hmm.
because that's just like a mic, like a very small, um, going into the micro world. But and I wondered about that. I wondered about, could it be something from the inner? So if we keep going smaller and smaller and smaller, could because we think, I notice we think in a way that we think the creator or creations, like the physical creator, okay, possibly could be the architects, basically, the ones that
Hmm.
create the physical, could, of course, be physical beings that are more powerful than us, maybe not even human, maybe part human. But when we look into, we think, okay, the spiritual, we think outer. That's the way sometimes I kind of just, maybe it's been soaked into me to where I think, okay, if you think creator is God, spirituality, it's outer, it's bigger, it's the outer universe. But
Hmm.
I thought, what if it's the inner? What if it's going into, what if God, like creator, is inside? It's so small that that's where the creators is. Kind of like when Scribe mentioned the fifth element and they recreated her, like almost like 3D printing her in like that, in that tube from like her hand. uh the technology was at that level. What if it's something like that, to where the creators are tiny, like beyond microscopic, and they build the fabric of reality from that up? Because we're used, I'm thinking always in different directions to say,
Sure,
okay,
sure.
yeah,
Well,
they
there's a
try to
billion
come.
different directions you can get into, but that's also biblical because they say, "Greater is in with you that is in the world."
Hmm.
My interpretation of that is everything is part of the Creator. Everything. There is nothing independent of the Creator.
Yeah.
It can't exist.
Hmm.
And I know, some people
Hmm.
have a hard time with that, but there is no independent existence, which makes sense because let's face it, we don't control our lives. You know,
Yeah.
we really don't. I mean, we can give ourselves pat on ourselves in the back and give ourselves credit for this and that, but at the end of the day, we don't control our situation. Could be on a bus and I'll sudden get hit by a bolt of lightning. So it's just like, every day um, is a gamble on this earth. Is it going to be our last? We don't know. We can't control that. So
It makes you wonder if it is written.
I,
It
th-
really, yeah.
written.
Or like
Here's
a
the
script or something, or like,
Well, this is what I believe, and by no means is it scientific. It's just my personal beliefs. Is that when we were spirits and we were chosen, we didn't get the choice to come here. That was not an option. Our number came up, we had to come. But we did have a say so in our lives. That's one thing we did have a say so. The Creator let us decide what kind of life we wanted to live here on this earth. We had a say so what direction we wanted to take. Um, and I know that seems a little crazy because some people, why they born into such misery. As crazy as it seems,
yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because you wonder,
yeah.
you say, why would they choose that? It makes me wonder, is it, and I don't want to say is it a lesson, because that's
Hmm.
tough, because in India and all of that, as Varun was saying, I mean, the oppression is just brutal, with
Sure.
the darker skinned Dravidians, and it's like, holy smokes, man. And then you see the egotistical part come out in the lighter skinned ones that actually think they deserve that. I mean, I looked at some quotes from Ayn Rand, and some of her books were exposing government, Atlas Shrugged, and
Hmm.
um, what was the other one? Fountainhead. But she's like horrible. Like, you look at, she's like the weak deserve to be starved, and that, and the strong. She was preaching some Hitler type stuff.
But you know what? There's a lot of speculation. John Todd said Aaron Rand, that book Atlas Shrugged, was a book for the Illuminati. You can hear it in the 1970s when he talked about that specific book.
Who's this? The guy? You're
John Todd, John Todd,
John
he said,
Todd. Okay.
yeah, in the 1970s, he gives a speech. You can still hear it on YouTube. And he said Atlas Shrugged was a book written specifically for the Illuminati,
Hmm.
which is another word for the Satan worshippers at the top. And it's true. It's true at the top.
Yeah.
We're
No.
seeing too much evidence of it.
Yeah. I could see her being a part of that.
Yeah.
I could definitely. I mean, when you look at that, it's like, wait a second. It's like, just the. I mean, the hypocrisy of some of these people, and when I look at that, I say, wow, how could you even, you let them say that and it shows you who they really are. It just shows you, like you were saying, it's like now it doesn't seem far fetched or, oh my goodness. No, she seems like she was part of that whole Illuminati, Satan worshiping type of
Yeah,
thing. And they pushed her up to be, I think her books still sell today. I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy. It's just like, I mean, horrible
And you can,
stuff. Yeah.
I
Just, I
mean, you
was
can
like,
see all the world leaders with that Baphomet signal. I think it's the index and the pinky
yeah.
finger and the two middle
Hmm.
fingers down. You can see everybody doing that. Even Trump, when he gives his speeches, look at his right hand. He's got 666. He's got the
Hmm.
thumb and the index finger together, and then the
Yep.
other, that's the symbol of 666. That's another hand sign. Every single politician had that hand sign. It's right in front of your face. It's right there. They don't, and why would they not hide it? Because, we got a bunch of zombies out here. I don't think they're supposed to hide it. I think they're supposed to be open about it, but keep people zombified and ball chasing, and they won't know any different.
Yeah. Yeah. Ball chasing is like, they'll pass down ball chasing generationally.
Yep.
They will, just still tell tales of old bull chasers from like the early 1900s. Uh, Mickey Mantle, one of the famous bull chasers.
No, they'll spend crazy money for a baseball card. You know what I mean? Life savings. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like I look at that and it makes you wonder, full grown men watching full grown males, not men,
mhm.
watching other males chase a bull. I mean, I think the real show is when you look at the stadium people,
Yeah.
not even the people on the field. You look at the people in the stands,
Hmm.
and it should be frightening to look at people that are like just very much out of physical conditioning, watching guys that are in very good physical condition. It's like, you look at that, it's like, wait a second, if you really were into this, wouldn't you be into uh, playing the game, which would
But
keep you in shape, you know?
here's the other scary part. Just because somebody wears another jersey, a team of that you're against, like one person's wearing a Chiefs jersey, one's wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey. These people think it's okay to start personally insulting this person, that they're less than just because they wear a different colored jersey. You can see YouTube videos all the time of fights between these people. That's how zombified they are. Oh, you're wearing a different jersey. Now you're a piece of shit. I can say whatever I want to you. I mean,
Hmm.
that's how zombified these guys are.
Yeah, to the point of violence.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
I think they've banned certain people from stadiums over in England and Europe and stuff. They have serious fights, like very serious physical confrontations with each other because they have the different jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost warlike.
The grown men, grown adults, so-called adults, fighting
Yep.
because of a different jersey.
Yeah, and injuring people to the point of ending. A lot of people have been ended in stadiums.
Yeah, and
It, it,
I'll admit I was a football zombie. I still probably am a little bit because I bet on the games. But
Mhm.
I've been to football games where I've seen fights, plenty of fights.
Wow.
Plenty of fights, and these weren't the ones that made it on YouTube videos. So I didn't go all the time. It's not like I was a season ticket holder. I went like a handful of times, and I
Mhm.
saw plenty of fights. So I can't even imagine how many fights
Wow.
went on that I never saw.
Yeah. Just
You
just
know?
a few times you went, you saw that.
Yep, almost every
I could.
time I'd see
Wow.
fights.
Imagine if you were a steady, go. You probably, countless
Yeah,
fights you would have seen.
countless fights, and the disrespect. People just felt like they could disrespect other people. It was ridiculous. I almost got into a fight myself because one guy wanted to put his hands on me. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And we were just leaving because the game was over. But it's just like, get the fuck
What?
out
What?
of here.
Why do you think he was doing it? Because of a different shirt or something, or like something?
Yeah, I think at the time I was wearing a different shirt, so he put his hands on my shoulder, but he didn't do anything. He just kind of like rubbed it a little bit, and I said, but he didn't hurt me or anything. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I would have struck him back,
Yeah.
within two
What
seconds.
nutcases? Holy smoke! Just because and you're leaving and he's doing this. Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
yeah. I mean, this is the ridiculousness you get out of this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Drew
Yeah.
Fitness that came on, he bets a lot too, and he a lot. I mean, he won a couple of thousand. He said he's serious better. He's sports zombie on that, and he admits it. And but yeah,
I
he
do it for $20, like just to keep the
yeah.
game
Oh no,
interesting.
he's
Just
like
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Drew is just because he makes good money. I think he makes good money. He bets like $1,000. I was like, holy smokes,
I'd be
bro.
broke if I did that because
Yeah,
everything's
and he
been wrong.
wins. Yeah, he wins. Yeah, I was like, holy smokes. He says it's addictive. It is addictive, but yeah, he understands the bull chaser addiction, man, and he does it, just for the money. He's very, very, very good at the stats and stuff. But
Hmm.
I'm like, it gets to a point to where I've seen with all gamblers, it's like you can't enjoy life
No,
because yeah, you're thinking about betting all the time, or it just really affects the mind on
unless you
something.
see it as entertainment, then you got a problem. Because I,
Mhm.
I know people like this. It's like, what? You've been back to the casino again? It's like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
Come to a break.
yeah. The
Flip of the
casino.
cards. Come
Yeah.
on. It's a flip of the cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very addicted. Some guys, the casino is like, it's like a crack house. For them.
Sure.
Yeah. They're just back at the crack house, playing cards. They thinking poker is a big one too. I mean,
It
I've
is.
seen people get hooked
It
and they
is.
think that, now they're like got a psychology degree or something because they could read people, the way their little cues when they're playing. I'm like, how does that help you? It's like, it just really, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's really some messed up stuff. The gambling, it just, it's like when I looked into Gamblers Anonymous to try to possibly help my father before he passed, it was like, you know, I said, let me, I looked into this in the 90s and it kind of like, I remember when it said the gambler deep down inside really wants to lose. And
It's
I was like,
true. It's true.
yeah, and I was like, wow, wow, because you always hear it too. People, oh, I was up, 10 grand, and I'm like, oh, so what'd you do? Nah, they stayed there, and I'm like, what? Why don't you walk out? And same story, same story. I'm like, one guy in the army, he was like up 27 grand or something, and he's telling everyone. I'm like, and what happened? And he's like, oh, I stayed there, and I'm like, well, every time, same story. Guys got to
Because
make money,
for
and
them, winning just means playing longer. That's all it
yeah,
means.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A guy on his birthday, I remember losing a couple of grand, and he was like, he goes, yeah, they kept bothering him to leave his friends, and he goes, oh, he's blaming it on that, and I said, well, how much did you lose on your birthday? And I think it was like 4 grand, and I was like, holy
Wow.
smokes! And I said something. I said, hey, like, what did you think, after you lost the first grand? And he's like, oh, I won it back, and this, and I'm like,
Hmm.
again, the story. It's
I
like
mean,
you,
I play poker still, but I do it for entertainment purposes.
if it's
That's it.
entertainment, I could see it being a little fun. You play it a little and you say, all right. But and I can understand the feeling of togetherness of hanging out late at
Yeah.
night, playing poker all night. People are smoking their stogies and drinking
Sure.
a little, alcohol, whatever. I understand the fun and the, being like, hey, we're hanging out. But when it involves the money now, it gets a little tough. It gets a little tough there
Well,
because
I'm somebody who can turn it off in his heartbeat. I can just not go for a long time.
yeah,
It's easy for me,
yeah,
so.
yeah, really. But yeah, that's again the vices that when I look at what's created around us, it's like everything is created to tempt us almost.
Hmm.
Even
Yeah.
even the supermarkets, it's like it's hard to say, okay, we're going to grow food. We might be able to grow, if we're lucky, 30 to 50% of what we eat. But unless you got a farm, you have to work with it would be smarter to find out where's the farm and say, you know what, I'll get my eggs and my whatever meat, whether it's poultry or beef. I don't really the pork with the parasite stuff. Yeah, that kind of turned me off of that. Where it's like you just ain't getting. that out of the pork. You know, you have to cook it a lot to kill off the
Yeah.
parasites. You basically just eating dead parasites, and and it's very good tasting meat. I ain't gonna lie. It's something about it, but there's also something very odd about it. There's something very odd about pork that is very human like.
Hmm.
You know, I remember one girl that I dated. She was a vegan. She was from Massachusetts, North Adams, like right below Vermont. And she was saying that there was a girl in the supermarket that showed her like a slice of ham, and she's holding it up. And she goes, "Look, it's like it's fake." She goes, "It's like it's not real or something." And, you know, and she was explaining it to me. And I was just like, the way she explained it, I was like, you know what? I was like, I kind of hear what you're saying. I kind of hear what you're saying. And it kind of got me to thinking, because pork, the pig itself, it it has something that something about it that it makes me wonder, like, could it be like a spare part animal that lets us you know, because they use parts from a pig and human, like some people have valves from the heart from pigs because it's more compatible or something. um I
I
think
could look
Schwartz.
it up. I know it was a penicillin from the cow or the pig. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I forgot. I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, when I look at it, and some people are trying to say, well, you know, there's still the wild pig, but
Hmm.
I think there's even that. That's probably got more parasites, you know? But like, look at this picture that somebody showed of a human arm next to a pig's limb. It's very similar, right?
Wow, that is kind of similar. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It makes you wonder, like, it just, you know, the guy that posted this a while ago, I saved the picture and I was like, holy smokes, man. There's something very, very, you know, cannibalistic, I guess the word would be for that. And yeah, yeah, it really
Yeah. It
makes,
says for key products derived from pigs: insulin for diabetes, heart valves for surgery, and heparin for blood thinners.
wow. And now they're genetically modifying them. A while ago, there's some
Hmm.
type of bacteria, I think, that they use to modify to where their waste isn't so high in methane or something like that. It's like something they
Mm.
did to, yeah, modify the waste on the pig. So now who knows what people are eating? They're definitely not going to tell you unless you look it up, and then they'll be like, oh, well, we passed a law and it's normal. So every pig has it, but don't worry. And that's basically what they do for everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, the water's polluted, the fish are changing gender, but don't worry, we have a limited amount. You know, we have, and it's like, what? How do you even have an acceptable amount for that? You know, what is the acceptable amount for hormone changing chemicals in the water? There is no acceptable amount. There's no parts per million or parts per billion that's acceptable with something like that. It's it's twisting something in the genes, in the
Yes.
hormones. That's extremely dangerous. Mark says cards are a good way to socialize, and it definitely is. I've noticed that. I used to play. I don't play anymore. It's been over a decade. I used to play chess too, and I don't play that anymore. It's been over 10, 12, 15 years. I used to love that, you know, but yeah, yeah. The problem with pork is the pigs will literally eat anything that ends up in the meat, and yeah, that's another thing
Hmm.
too. Yeah, anything. I heard they get rid of bodies on pig farms sometimes. Like there's a anybody can look it up, that you know, if somebody throws a human body in there, they're gonna crush it up and eat everything.
Yeah.
So
No, I think it's happened before plenty of times.
yeah,
They found
yeah,
fingers and hamburgers and stuff like that.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that movie, The Silence of the Lambs, was showed like a clip where they were going to try to feed Hannibal Lecter to the pigs to get rid of his body, and
Hmm.
in that scene, I think that's when it wasn't Jodie Foster. I think it was the second part. Might have been it was this red-haired girl that was playing the detective cop. and she ended up shooting one of the guys, and that distraction, I think, got him to get free from whatever thing they had him tied up in, and then he saved her. And it was like, I mean, yeah, they were going to try to get rid of the body with the pigs, and
Mm.
the tides turned, and yeah, I
Could
think
they
it.
even make a movie like that today with all the wokeness that we have, a transgender killer and
Oh,
everything like that? They probably couldn't, you know?
yeah, yeah, they probably, yeah, and I think this was that the second part, because I think the first one.
No, the first one he was killing them for their skins, or for making a dress out of the women's skins.
Okay, so Hannibal was locked up in the first one.
Yeah, Hannibal was in the prison. He
Okay,
escaped.
so
He
and the
did escape.
second,
Yeah.
and that was Silence of the Lambs when he was locked up.
Yeah, with Jodie Foster. They were
Okay,
looking
now
for Buffalo Bill.
the second one, not Red Dragon, because Red Dragon I think was the second or the third one.
Yeah, I didn't see the other ones. I mean, I tried to watch them, but they weren't that good.
Yeah, they weren't as good. Red Dragon
Yeah.
was kind of weird.
Hmm.
Edward Norton, I think, was in that one, but I think the second one, trying to remember the name. You had Silence of the Lambs. Red Dragon was the last one, and I'm trying to. Yeah, what was the name of the? Let me see. Silence of the Lambs.
And that was based on a true story. I think it was Ed Gein or somebody like that. They based it on that serial
Yeah,
killer.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Hannibal Lecter was a real serial killer, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if Hannibal. I mean, cannibalism has gone on plenty of times. I know Jeffrey
Mhm.
Dahmer was a cannibal, so cannibalism is very common with some of these
Yeah,
serial killers.
I,
Yeah.
I think that one might have been Hannibal, because it was, they say Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and then Red Dragon was '02. So they were, I guess they smelled money and was like, because they made Hannibal in '01 and then Red Dragon in '02. So,
Yeah.
they, that, and then, they tried to commercialize it after that,
Yeah,
which is
that's
like,
why you lose interest. It's like
yeah,
Jaws. The first one was great, but then they get stupid. And
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. That first one with Buffalo Bill, yeah, it was like, holy smokes.
yeah, that was a great movie because it was like very
Oh,
realistic to
the
what goes on.
skins, yeah, that was
Hmm.
some real, yeah, it really makes you think. Yeah, Hannibal. Yep, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Super Sidewinder. And Mark says, "Yep, there are farmers who have a heart attack in the pig pen, and the pigs eat. Wow!" And they thought it was a missing hole, and it's very
Yeah,
common.
yeah,
Oh, oh,
pigs will eat anything. They'll eat
oh my
anything.
goodness, that's like a serial killer's dream, owning a pig farm or something.
Hmm.
And the fact that they'll eat anything, that's the crazy thing. If this is how Mark is saying, it's a fact that these farmers end up, having heart attacks in the pig. I'm pretty sure those pigs are sold and eaten. The pigs that
Sure.
eat the farmer, I
Hmm.
doubt they're gonna, like, not sell them.
And I love pork. I'll admit it. I love pork.
I was
I love
addicted.
pork.
When I was addicted, man, in the '90s, the Chinese store. Oh yeah,
Pork ribs. Give me a
I was
yeah.
getting the rib. Just I was a crackhead for the boneless spare ribs. I
Yeah,
would
they
order
slide
it.
off the bone. They're
Oh my
sliding.
goodness, you didn't even get the bone. Like, they would have one where they had the pieces and they would chop it up in strips, and it would just be
Yeah.
the meat, and it was delicious. It had, it probably, you could see the red dye, like on because the Chinese pork, I guess, has that red dye on it, and the crisp, and it was a very extremely tasty meat. And I ate it for a while in the '90s, and then I just stopped. I said, okay, beef and chicken, and then I stopped the beef, which then I was just eating the chicken, and then I stopped the meat period for a couple of years, but eventually went back to like fish and stuff after a decade. But yeah, pork is extremely tasty. So and you wonder why. It's like, is it the pork or is it the seasoning? It's like, it makes me wonder. It really does make me wonder.
It's a very soft meat, very tender,
Yeah,
juicy. Yeah. So I
yeah,
don't know. Ham is delicious. So what are you
yeah.
gonna
It
do?
makes you wonder. It does. I kind of do wonder. And then the fact that they carry the trichinosis and all of that, that's a big problem right there. If it didn't have a high percentage, they say chicken has that too, if you're not eating like organic chickens and stuff. But even that, I would think, how do they prevent that? And it gets you to look into it to say, yeah, what are we really eating? I mean, fish, you got to be careful. They're showing parasites in the salmon and stuff. And these are people
Hmm.
that catch their own salmon and smoke it and dry it. There's some videos on YouTube, and this lady and her husband, they dry it out and they store food for the winter. And I was like, wow, she was showing when they were drying out. She goes, yeah, you see the worm coming out. Like, and I was just like, wow. She goes, you can't get rid of it. So I think they dry it and they do a process to kill it off. So they basically are like, look, it's, you know, eating dead parasites is better than eating live parasites. So I kind of, okay, but I guess I'm going to chill on the salmon.
Well,
Uh,
look at something like Whole Foods. You know, they've made a whole industry based on organic foods that are supposedly healthier for you. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If they're organic and they're healthier, what are they selling at the supermarket? Shit, you know? I mean, it's like,
yeah,
they made a whole industry based on this,
yeah.
like people trying to avoid the toxins in the foods. It's like, it's
Hmm.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And organic food, you go into a Whole Foods, hey, it's great, but guess what? You're paying crazy prices. And
Crazy.
that goes back to what I've said before, that a lot of these communist countries, you notice that the most fertile lands where they could grow the most fruits and vegetables are all under these dictatorships, and they oppressed commercial farming. I don't think that's by coincidence. I don't think at all. And there's one book that I read that I didn't read it, but I saw it, and maybe I'll read it eventually, that Wall Street was actually responsible for the communist revolution, that they funded it. And it would make sense because they wanted to suppress any production, especially food production in these countries. To control the supply and the pricing of these food. And we see it. Going to Whole Foods, you're paying ridiculous amounts for fruits and vegetables, you know? But
Yeah. And I heard that they're using a peel from Bill Gates at Whole Foods.
mm,
They've declined to comment, and Aldi uses it, and there were a few others that were on the list, and they won't disclose. They're saying, "Oh, it's organic," but they won't disclose. And the fact that it's from Bill Gates, right there, I'm like, they really they destroyed any type of reputation, but most people don't even care.
and the whole story with Bill Gates is very suspect because his father was heavily involved in Planned Parenthood, heavily involved in that organization. It's like, what's this guy he created this operating system. Now he's involved in our food supply. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. There's more to the story than meets the eye about these people in power who accumulate this immense wealth. They're part of a system. They didn't happen by chance, like the story that's been sold to us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
No.
Yeah, no, yeah, we always got to go further than the story we're
Hmm.
um, being told. Uh, it just, I'm trying to find Bill Merlet, fossil skulls. This is the guy. He is he he's a researcher that he's the one that he calls the skulls evolutionary scrap heaps
Mm.
used to store fossils that don't fit anywhere. And they try to say, oh, these are taxonomic categories, and he called them taxonomic wastebaskets. Yeah, this guy really broke it down on them. I'm hoping they got some pictures because on the video, he really broke it down. And I was like, wow, this is a very smart. This guy is detective level on this research. The video had it a lot better. I'm just trying to see if I can find because the way he presented it, I was like, wow, this is a very good way of um of putting it. Yeah, they have like the Piltdown Man. What they were also saying is that Neanderthal skulls, they were purposely presenting it with either the jaw unhinged or the jaw pushed forward. So it looks more primitive.
Wow.
And if you just put the bone in the right position, it looks human.
Hmm.
So they present it with the jaw unhinged, or if it's, if it has to be hinged, they'll push it forward. And I'm like, just the deceit is ridiculous. And it just, when I look at it, it's like evidence, and this is the craziest thing, because when you look in to some of these things, it has me wondering, like, this picture here I'm trying to upload. It's a picture of what they call, I guess, Australopithecus afarensis. So some made up, oh, this is the ape man, but from Africa. You look at this skull here, right? And look at the bones they found, and everything else they filled in is fake.
They're saying that's human,
That's a missing link, they're trying to say.
but I mean, it looks like I'm not an expert, but it
No, you see the brown parts?
looks like an ape.
Well,
It
no,
looks
but
like
you
a
see the
human.
brown part. The brown parts are the only parts they found. Everything else is fake.
Oh, everything else is fake.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
those little brown patches are the pieces of skull they found, and everything that's white is what they made up.
Wow, that's sad. And
Yeah,
people
and
and
saying,
people
look,
buy into this shit.
they're like, look at what it looked like. I'm like, are you? You really got to question a person's, like,
Hmm.
intelligence level when you look at this, and you say, so you're believing this?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the guys who made it, they're getting paid. But the people who believe that shit, especially if you're an adult, I'm not going to blame little kids in school because that's all they're told. But
Mhm.
these adults, are you retarded? You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I take that back. Are you challenged? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, come on, can't you tell when you're being conned? You know?
Yeah, it really. When I look at some of these, and I say to myself, like, wow. Um, they have another one that says the first Neanderthal bones were misidentified. Why? First of all, they say the thought of an additional human species was a huge paradigm shift for people at the time. But I forgot the guy's name. I think it's Menegarin or something, and Stringer in 2024 recently documented their reasons um, that we are a separate species. And secondly, the bones found in the Neander Valley of Germany was studied by famous anatomist Rudolf Virchow, who considered the father of pathology, having published. So, and that's where Professor Prost basically put human skeletons there. And then they found out a decade or more later that these are human skeletons trying to say it's Neanderthal. So there's
Mm.
so many lies behind the Neanderthal thing. It's to say, uh, what is going on, and it's a fairy tale. It's a straight fairy tale. I mean, it's like I said before. You could put pictures of a baboon, a monkey, an ape, a chimp, a gorilla, and say, oh, look, these all turn into each other to become the gorilla. And a person who isn't really versed in thinking about anything might buy into that, might say,
Sure.
hey, yeah, right. It's like, no, that just thinking, you would be like, no, this is all these animals are existing right now. And there's no way for them to turn into each other when you look at the genetics. Like these skulls here, they say, oh, this is the evolution of our skull. The fact that they say that like a fact and it's not true, it just, again, shows you what universities are for. It's for
And didn't
indoctrination.
the Australians or the Europeans, when they first arrived in Australia, so the Aborigines people were less than that evidence for evolution? They were less evolved, didn't they claim that back at
Oh,
that
they were
time?
calling them the missing link. They were saying this is the primitive human that is basically not even human, and
Hmm.
they classified them under the Flora and Fauna Act up until 1968. So
Look at that.
they weren't even considered human.
Yeah, not that long ago in the span of time,
They were,
people were looked down upon.
yeah, they were cutting off. They were sending their skulls back. Some lady in Germany were boiling down the skulls and putting them on display.
Mm.
It was sad, and the same thing they were doing with the Maori, I think, of I think it was like Polynesia or something. It's really sad the way they were based, like that movie Predator. They were collecting skulls.
Yep. And the masses, they might have not have been doing that, but they said, "Oh, I guess it's okay because that's evolution." You know, the zombies.
They're like, hey, this is just like, when they mount deer heads on the wall, which is kind of sick too.
Right.
When you think about it, it's like, well, why, what's the sense of stuffing this animal and mounting it on a wall? It's kind of weird to me. It's just, I can understand native tribes wearing the stuff, like, as they say, they use every part, so they're thanking the creator for this meal
Hmm.
of buffalo, or whatever it is they killed to eat, and they're using every part. They're not wasting it. They're going to make moccasins. They're going to wear the bison horns as a ritual or something. So they're being like, look, we there's a connection here. What you are what you eat. That's the oldest law that we can, that's such a true thing. You are what you eat. Everybody knows that, but they don't, I think they forget it. And we become that. How could we not?
Right.
How could we not? Right. So it just, again, with what's going on, it just, yeah, these, Bill Mellard, yeah, I got to give him credit for that, man, for finding that out. Mr. Super Sidewinder says they love the word homo and they love wieners. So Homo erectus is their favorite. That's a good one, Mr. Super Sidewinder. I think Scribe, what's up, bro? He's here.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear the earlier part of the stream, so I just happened to get back. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just kicking it about regular stuff. We were talking about a couple of the skulls and stuff that they had. Well, I showed this picture that somebody showed of the pork with the human hand in there, and yeah, we were going over like some of the skull pictures and stuff with the fake evolution positioning of the skulls to say like, oh, this is this is where people come from, which is clearly just no scientific, not that it's just no scientific proof, it's lies on top of that. So it's one thing if it's like, okay, it's an honest mistake, but it's like a deliberate lie, and that really raises up a red flag for the yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you, Scrad.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Hanging in there. Hanging in there.
Yeah, I was going over other, as the thumbnail was stating, other clues. So more clues from the architects of humanity. Like when we look at these albino animals, like the zebra, and we start to be like, whoa, this is, why does this happen? We see it in all of the people. We see every type of person has albino templates in their genome. But when we look at the animal kingdom, we start to see it like everywhere. We start to see the dolphin, the albino dolphin. You'll even have pink dolphins. So it's a different type of albinism, maybe even more of an albinism, like how we have the angelfish with the pink eyes. Once they have the red eyes, you see that the melanin is not there, and it's reflecting back the meat from the retina, especially on humans. But it really gets me to think when I look at these animals, the squirrel and the albino snake around his neck, the albino rabbits, and then to think that all laboratory experimental animals are albino. And I think, I don't know if it was Alexis, but somebody had left a comment saying, does this mean, like, do they know? I think it was Prime. And it was like, do they know how to create the albinos? Because if they're having all albino rats and mice to experiment on, it must be a breeding program that they're using to create albinos. I wonder what would happen with humans if that was there. If humans, especially it being that the albino template is popping out of non-albino humans, wherever on the planet people are from, they, say that we have albinos from England and Spain and, Russia, India, China, Africa, and other parts, and those albinos breed with other albinos. What would they produce? Would they produce 5 albino children, or 4 children of maybe non-albino form and 1 albino? This is something that would get us closer to trying to figure out the origins of humans. This would be the right way to do some type of scientific progress toward finding the truth. And if it
Do
doesn't,
you have to use the logic that if, like, they say, we came from monkeys, okay, if they're still here hanging out, why is this batch over here have not evolved yet, and there's no what they call missing link in the middle? So it
well,
would be the same thing. Okay, the albino, why do we still see them today? So unless they
well,
literally just got out the lab or something.
Yeah.
well, the monkey thing, how they lie about that, because they well orchestrated lie for that. They'll say, we say, oh, there's chimps, that, oh, you're telling us we evolved from that. And they're like, no, you don't understand, Mr. X.
Yeah.
That's the first they come
You
out.
don't get it. You haven't done
Yeah,
the science.
you don't get it. And then they'll come out with, again, the made up the terminology, the new lexicon, the evolutionary doublespeak, I call it, and newspeak. They'll say, no, it doesn't come from an ape or a chimp. It comes from a common ancestor. That the ape and the chimp and the gorilla and the human all have a common ancestor. And that common ancestor split off, and then monkeys and all. It's such a fairy tale when you think of that. Like, wow,
I think it falls more in the ignorant side, because like the Bigfoot thing, it's split into two. One side thinks it's flesh and blood, the other side thinks it's some type of mystical being that has powers. So when you're looking at that, what you're saying, then what was I gonna say? It was
common ancestor or something.
yeah. So basically, they're
We know
saying
that
the ones that say it's flesh and blood say, oh, it comes from Gigantopithecus, which we do have DNA from both. From that one, and there's another one that's that size. First of all, they're not upright walking; they're giant apes, and we have the DNA. So just saying, just logic, common will tell you when they turn in this DNA, it's not matching with Gigantopithecus. That should already be. Obviously, it's not what it is, but yet the theory is still there. They'll keep repeating it over and over and over, no matter if it's how ridiculous it sounds. You can easily substitute by just not even with science, just common. What do you call it? Just evaluating the situation. Okay, that is known species already. Supposedly it lived this time. We have the DNA for it. So if that's what that is, then we can easily make a match in comparison of the DNA. So that's not what's going on. So just basic stuff like that, the mainstream media doesn't understand. That it doesn't match that. Therefore, it's already been proven. But yet they'll still say that. I know some type of big ape or something walking around. So this is what we're dealing with. This is the education we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who try to make sense of it, so they compare it with something in real life that they know about, and it's got to be that. And that's where they, that's the end of their investigation. That's it. So,
well, I'm looking up
can't
right
really,
now, and 60% of our DNA is shared with the banana. So we're closely related to the banana too. So next time you eat a banana, think about that could be your ancestor.
I mean, my scientific hypothesis for why a banana and us share that much DNA is so we can digest it.
Yeah, that's a hypothesis.
It just a kind of a common sense, thought. Of course, it needs scientific inquiry, but that is kind of like making like a reasonable assumption to say, well, how would we? The way to test that scientific assumption would be to look into non-digestible foods and see how much DNA we share with them. If we share more of the same, well, then the hypothesis would seem to be incorrect. Then that means we contain the same genes for a different reason. Not that we came from each other. It's sort of like having a plane built of metal, and then another type of vehicle built of metal, a tank, a plane, a jeep, a battleship. They're using the same materials for different things. So the same genes or similar genes to make the banana, the human, the this, and certain amounts, and then after that certain similarity, adding in the other genes that are unique that turn this into a banana. But then when we add these other genes, it becomes a human, or it allows the human creation in the lab, because it seems that Bigfoot and all of them are all independent creations.
I mean, there is some compatibility. Like they've used the heart of a baboon, the heart, I don't know if even of a pig or a kidney or something. Somehow it worked in that skin
yeah, we were
grafting.
talking about.
That wouldn't work, like you're saying. That wouldn't work if we weren't part of it and also be able to digest, certain foods and all these things
Well,
that
it's
can
kind of like,
understand that.
to me, it's like this. You can take the metal from a battleship and use it to repair a car, or say, okay, we need to, use some of this metal, either melt it down, take sheets of it from somewhere, that could be bent into the trunk or whatever, or something like that. So,
Well, that's metallurgy, but I'm saying that gives them more. Oh, see, we can use a baboon's heart. That means that we're
no, only
compatible.
only with
That makes
the baboon kidney.
But I'm
Only,
looking it up,
only
and they
with,
said they died from that heart
yeah, some
transplant. It
people
was never
have died.
successful. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've all
and then,
died. They've all died.
oh, they all died. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm looking it up right now. It was never
how
successful.
quickly.
It
What
largely
about
occurred in the
kidneys?
60s and 80s.
Wow. And they have to live on like these immunosuppressant drugs, like,
One who
because,
lived 21 days with a baboon heart, the most patients only survived hours or days
oh
due
my,
to immune
Oh, okay, so
incompatibility.
that's early. What
Yeah,
other organs have they? I'm sure they've used other
you said
organs.
the kidney organs, successful organ
I think they've
transplants
used
with
kidneys. Yeah.
animals.
I
All right, I'll
thought
look
it
it
was
up.
kidney. I'm not sure though. I thought baboon kidney, but I'm not sure. I thought I heard that before. Um, and I think the pig, we talked earlier, it was the heart valves. There's like certain parts, the insulin, which it's very dangerous from what I've heard, in my opinion, that some of that insulin, you really don't want to be taking that.
It
Uh,
said here, key breakthroughs include pig kidneys functioning for over 2 months.
in my opinion, yeah. Uh,
So no
oh,
long-term survival.
so 2 months, and what did they have to do? The person died, or did they have to take it out, or?
To prevent immediate human rejection, with recent cases achieving months of survival and promising long-term viability. So it just says months of survival, that they didn't last for that much.
So it's no
Yeah,
long-term viability.
no long-term viability. A pig kidney functions once for a record 130 days. That was a record. That the kidney in the Massachusetts General Hospital successfully transported a genetically modified pig kidney into a living patient, marking a significant milestone. In another instance, a pig kidney functioned for a record 130 days. So the record it says here was 130 days. So no long-term survival, obviously. You know.
Wow. That's I'm trying to see if Schwarzenegger's, um because one girl told me he had a heart transplant, but I think it was he does not have, well, they're saying it doesn't have pig arteries, but he's had multiple surgeries to replace heart valves with animal tissue. Specifically, he received bovine cow pulmonic valve.
But that's different than the actual organ
Oh yeah,
transplant.
definitely.
Yeah,
This is
totally
like
different.
like a graft. And Mr. Super Sidewind is right. They love that word homo. They call it a homograft. I'm like,
Yeah, I love that word.
oh my goodness. And
So
for
it looks
valve
like no
replacement.
real animal transplants have been successful. No organ transplants have been
Yeah,
successful.
that's not happening. So it's like, again, they're always trying to say this. Always, oh well, we can, we're not too different, and it's like, you can't even transplant bone marrow unless it matches from another human. But they're gonna
Hmm.
find it in something like a bab. It's like, come on, man. They're
That's why
doing.
they
Well,
need
remember
fetal
the
tissue.
largest organ is the skin, right? and they
Yeah.
do graft pigskin, so that is known. And
Well,
Mm,
what do you think abortions are for? That fetal tissue. They use that all the time. They definitely, well known to use it for medical research, but there's also speculations used in certain vaccines. So fetal tissue is very valuable. That's why abortions push so hard, you know.
and they grow. They have skin labs. Like India, China, and Israel have the largest skin labs in the world.
Hmm.
Like it's
And
kind
they
of,
also have a lot of abortion in India too, with the girls, because of
yeah,
their traditions that girls are like a burden, you know. Yeah.
it's really messed up. I'm trying to see where are the biggest skin banks. I remember running into this the other day. Oh my goodness. Based on reports and discussion, Israel is frequently cited as holding the largest skin bank in the world.
Wow.
Holy smokes. I think second is India and China. Holy smokes, man. This is kind of creepy.
You should
The
look up fetal tissue and what it's used for, you know.
Yeah,
See
the
what comes
fetal
up.
tissue, I had did some research a while ago. They were they were like supposedly breeding like women in the Bahamas. I think it was Queen Elizabeth Hospital, no, in Barbados. And they women were being told that their baby was born stillbirth, but they can't see it. And it happened so frequently that
Hmm.
people were complaining a lot, and they started to investigate. And I think they were taking, I had the article, it's a PDF file actually on a study on it, and it was showing how they use these fetal parts, placentas, abortion, stuff like that, and these babies brought to term to inject, like women, I think in Romania and Russia were paying $20,000 to inject some of these into their thighs, and it would eliminate cellulose, they were claiming,
Hmm.
or the cellulite. And then when the Barbados thing got hot, they started, according to the article, said that they were paying Ukrainian women to carry babies to like the 8th month and abort them. They would pay
Yeah.
them like $200 to $300 because it was, easy, cheap. I mean, you're talking some Frankenstein level stuff. So with the fetal parts, they're using it for like regeneration. Oprah, I think, got busted using a cream that uses like the foreskins to for the stem cells or something like that.
Yeah, stem cell research heavily involved in that. There's
Yeah,
a multitude of things they use it for. They said
yeah,
it's the reason for medical breakthroughs of fighting certain diseases. It's a vital part of it was even in some of the vaccines for the magic potion, you know?
uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah.
And with this too, with the skin banks, they say MTF Biologics in the United States has a tissue bank too, has a large. So these tissue banks, of course, okay, people that get burn victims and stuff that need them. You wonder, you really wonder, man, about like, holy smokes, man. India, China, Israel, the United States having skin banks. And, I guess if somebody gets burned or whatever, you got you got something to hopefully repair the injury. I mean, this is like some creepy stuff when I think about it because of the implications of what else it could be used for. It really makes me wonder, man. Yeah.
I was gonna
Well,
ask you too, to yeah, go ahead. No, sorry, sorry.
go
I'll
ahead,
ask you
Scrap. Go
after. Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I'm just
Scrap.
going to grab my tea. Azroon, what's up? Good to see you. I'll be right back.
No, yeah, I was gonna ask you a question, but yeah, as Miss Rex, if you wanna, or you
No, I'm
already
just
done?
saying throughout the history of the world, the human population was always built to serve the kings and queens for wealth, power, and health. I mean, so why would things change now? You know?
Precisely, and they still are, and we're under that United trademark. That's exactly right. It's like
Hmm.
when you realize why are we in this situation, it's like, yeah, there's no constitution or anything because that's coming from, some other power and it's right in our face. But they want to say, oh no, that's just, that's just old stuff, it's not that's not relevant today, even though the castle's still there, even though they still rule the area. And it's almost like they want us to think it's like for show or something. And it's like, no, that's a
No.
monarchy, and that runs many things. Canada's under the crown, Australia's under the crown, New Zealand's under the crown. The United States is also under the crown, but it's called the United States. So it's officially like the UK, United States, United Kingdom. So they've literally, yeah, they have both west and east sides, and they've been running it for for as long
And
as they
all our
can.
presidents have been blood related. That's been a fact. That they've all been related some way,
Exactly.
somehow. Yeah. Obama was related to Bush, I think. Bush
Yep,
or
ninth cousin. His ninth cousin,
yeah.
yeah.
That's not coincidence.
No, that's it's just and then Bush and Kerry, they're cousins, and
I
they're
know.
both in Skull and Bones. They only have one person, I guess, 15 people per year. Only the elite people are allowed to join, and they were both members. And this is the way to choose between. It's just the most
And
ridiculous
that's
stuff
our
you can
choices
think
for
of.
president. And they're so against each other too. They hate each other. It's ridiculous. But
Yeah, but they go the same. Their allegiances to this thing, and it's hilarious.
good to see you, Azarone.
Yeah, good to see you too, Mr. X. Hello, Scribe.
What's going on, man? What do you got to tell us? You got any new visions or any new
No, nothing.
information?
Nothing actually. Yeah, I was just seeing the thing. I just finished my breakfast and I was seeing MD say that the skin graft banks that Israel has the highest number of it, and then India and China. I didn't know that too. Actually, I'm amazed by that information.
And you have a lot of abortions in India, right? A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah. They consider a female child in the rural areas to be a burden because what happens is that when the female child is born, the girl's family, when she grows up, will have to give a lot of dowry to the male's family, like a lot of money to the male's family, and other fixed assets as well, like a car, a site, a house, or something like that. So they don't like that to bear that burden, and they get to know the sex of the child before it's conceived only, and then they have it aborted. In
Unbelievable.
certain places it's become so bad that in Punjab actually, like female abortion, aborting the female uterus, sorry, I mean aborting the female fetus became so rampant that two people will be sharing one woman over there, two brothers share the same
Yeah.
wife in the rural areas. All that happens actually
I heard there was a
because
shortage of women in certain areas that guys can't
yeah,
find
yeah,
women
yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Rajasthan, actually, like what happens is that Rajasthan is a state in India. So in the rural areas, it's considered inauspicious if the first child is a girl. So they kill the child off if it's born. So I saw the video. The girl child was born, right? It was the first child. They took a pot of milk, they dipped the baby in the milk, and they watched it suffocate and die.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
Okay, yeah, we know about talking about babies and that type of thing, but
Yeah.
anyway, we kind of left off a long time ago with that we don't know if have you talked to any new girls or anything like that? Is there any situation going on there, or you just kind of just let that go?
Uh, Actually, like I did something crazy. I went and recently I was able
Okay,
to somehow.
how crazy are we talking?
No, no, I was able to have sex for the first time actually.
Hey,
Oh, really?
congratulations,
Oh,
Azrael.
oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations, bro.
With a
Yeah.
Thai female.
Nice. How was
The
it? Did
one
you
female you
enjoy
said?
it?
What?
A Thai female. A Thai female.
Oh, Thai,
Asian.
really? Okay, cool, cool.
Hmm. You enjoy it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She put the condom on me, and then like he was able to do. I was able to get
Not
the
too graphic,
erection.
bro. Not too graphic. Just
But you were
Okay,
able to
okay. I
get
was
the
able
actual
to
erection, right?
get an erection for a very short period of time. I had controlled myself for a long time to see if I can sustain an erection, and then like we finally did it actually with a Thai female.
So
She
maybe you're
only
over the
gave.
curse. The curse is gone now.
Yeah,
The curse. She
but it
solved the
happened
curse.
too late.
I bet you that succubus is mad now, boy. Holy, she's gonna visit you
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
You
yeah.
beat the curse,
Well,
Azrael. Congratulations. You beat it. Mm.
yeah, I mean that's a massive relief. Even for us, it's like we're like even we're relieved. It's like it's like that's crazy, man. It's like you lift off, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
monumental thing. So it's good, man. That's
Correct.
good. Yeah, I'm reading the chat. Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's awesome. That's good, man." But what else
Yeah, it's a big
as far
stream.
as
It's a special stream. You got to mark this one.
yeah, we gotta see what day this is. It's the
The 19th of March.
night.
It's a
It's about to be the
historic
19th.
moment.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
back.
and yeah, I don't know if ND heard, but
Definitely
yeah,
heard the news.
No, what happened?
Hasbro broke his cherry.
that's he hooked up, man.
Really?
Yeah, so
Oh, snap. Wow. With a chick, right?
Yeah. Thai
Right.
female.
Just
hopes. That's what was
I just checking. That's all. No, it's great, man. Wow. So I guess I know those first experience, feels like all heaven and earth is meeting, right?
Yeah.
Wow, man. That is great, bro. I'm glad. I am glad, bro. So yeah, at least well, you got that accomplished,
Yeah.
That's
After such a long time, that too.
yeah, that's it just I remember looking at this guy, he's a lawyer, very prominent. He was on Soft White Underbelly a couple of years ago. Then he got on a Diary of a CEO, very well spoken guy. And I think he was a billionaire client. And he said the guy was in his 70s and the woman got awarded like $200 or $300 million just for being married to him. And he thought, like, I remember he said, when you're in your 70s, he goes, I would think that you would stop, thinking with the lower part of your body. And, as you get older, when you've had, enough sex, you start to say that, okay, sex is still something that is important of the way of the physical activity to keep the body running correctly. They say that it keeps the pipes moving, everything flowing. But it comes a time where he thought, like, yeah, why would you put yourself in predicaments uh just to have sex? It's like I see these guys that they get to a point where they're very insecure. But I'm glad that you've experienced this. Yeah, I'm very glad.
Yeah.
Red Blur's like, my man. They're hooking you up. Prime says, congrats, brother Azroon, man. So you're getting a lot of yeah. Let the history books know. Yeah, was she at least a 7+? Like, what was she like? Was she okay?
Yeah. Something like a 6 or a 7.
Oh, nice. Indian girl?
No, Thai female.
Oh, Thai. Oh, wow. That's cool, man. That is definitely cool, man. I'm glad, man. I'm definitely glad. That is man, that's like really cool to hear. That's really, it just I guess is it just a regular girl, or was she like a pro, or
It was a massage parlor.
oh,
Like
okay.
I
Yeah,
like
you don't gotta
they'll
say.
offer,
I
they'll
know.
massage you and all that. Then they'll offer extra services.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
that you have to pay. So I paid it and got it done with.
Was it a lot that you had to pay?
I paid 9,000 rupees. So 9,000 rupees, I don't know how much that is in dollars. I
Let me
think $110 or something like that.
9,000.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, man. You might be able to go on
everyone's looking it up. It's like,
yeah. Oh my
Through the
goodness,
exchange.
man! You got a deal. If it's correct, it's saying that's $9.65. You got to be kidding me! Holy
Yeah.
smokes! You can't beat that. You might have people donating so you can go there on a weekly basis.
no, it's $96.40.
Oh, 96. Why is it saying? No, oh, I put 900. Man, that's messed up. Yeah, so $96. Okay, $96. Yeah, that ain't that. I mean, for India, it's kind of high, but I mean, if she was decent and you got the deed completed, yeah, man, that might be something that you might be able to do. Would you do that like on a monthly basis, or you just like, okay, the one time is enough?
Mm, Basically, for a long time, because my genitals were damaged, right? I found it difficult to sustain an erection. So at least I've been with 9 women. The 8 women that I've been with, they were performing oral sex, and they were allowing me to do other things with them. But
Mhm.
the ninth woman, somehow I was able to sustain an erection for a very short period of time and do it with her.
Wow. So at least no, that's great, man. And she was clean and everything. It was good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, man. That's. Yeah, yeah, you did it, man. You did it. So, it's the that's progress. That's progress, man, from what when we first had you on and stuff. This is good. This is good, man.
Yeah,
So,
Asian girls are
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
They're wonderful. I like
yeah,
Asian
the
women
Asian
too.
girls, yeah. Yeah, I would think that that would be better than I don't know, there are some pretty Indian girls, but like in the majority that I see, they're kind of like, mediocre, I would say, but when they're pretty, they're very pretty. I have to admit that. They're definitely, yeah. And some of those Thailand girls are pretty. You just got to make sure that it's,
Well, they
you
have
know,
that feminine quality. Well, that's if you go to Thailand. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah,
I think they
yeah,
have very strict rules. Like if you go to Thailand, they're not allowed in the bars. I think unless it's specifically a bar for that kind of
yeah. And they got to let
caliber.
you know. Yeah, they're like, yeah,
Yeah, very strict rules on the
yeah,
Thai lady boys.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
We,
can't go there and just end up with a lady boy by chance. It's like
yeah, they're gonna let,
you
yeah,
know,
because I think they've been through something. Yeah, Varun Max, bro.
clam howler.
This is so great. It's like, the menace said he's interested. Was it what you imagined? That's what he's asking you. Varun.
At least, yeah, she was a 6 or a 7. So the
No, I
experience
mean
was good.
the act, like was the act what you imagined, the intercourse, was it what you imagined?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely.
Okay, okay, so that's good, man. So you were doing it, man. This is great, man. This
Because
is
he's literally, remember, he was literally on the brink of getting the 40-year-old virgin thing. He broke the curse right before that. So
he broke it,
good for
man.
you,
He
brother.
definitely
Good for you, man.
he did it, man. That's great. It's like for some reason I just feel giggly. It's kind of this is I don't even know what questions, but it is kind of you send it.
Saying it was so insane back when we first started talking to him that like even we're all relieved. It's like us. It's like his thing was so hardcore that even
Yeah,
all of us are relieved now. It's like
it,
lift the weight off us. It's like wow.
yeah, we're cheering from the stands, in the stadium for you, Asroon. So it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. You
There is hope.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, Thailand has definitely got me. That's why I was like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, a friend of mine had went there. He was complaining about like some people, like the whole, that whole uh, orientation type of thing. And then I was like, so where you heading to? He's like, oh, Thailand. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. But hey, at least you did the deed. It's not like if it's what you imagined, great. So yeah, you can move forward, and you know you might you might feel the need in the future, and it might it could actually heal you.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the right question is how has that helped you, Ezra? Do you feel a lot more what they call confidence now? Because that's definitely a confidence builder once you're able to actually, you go through your life without being able to do it, and finally you can do it. That's like going through your whole life in a wheelchair, and then finally now you got up and started walking around. So that's like a massive, hit to
Yeah.
your ego as far as ascending. So how has
Correct.
that changed your view on life?
I still feel like a normal person after having done it, but I'm happy that I did it.
Mm. Do you think that
Have
if
the
you
right
did it on a
perspective.
regular, you would be able to sustain it more and more, and you would might maybe heal?
Uh, I need to, if to sustain it, I'll need to take some injection and inject it over there because I have some stomach problem. Like the thing is, when I eat food, it takes too long to digest. So I tried a lot of remedies for my stomach. The English medicine, the allopathic medicine, it failed. So finally, I went to the
So,
Ayurvedic
Asbury,
doctor.
can you get papaya? Can you get papaya over there? Eat that shit. That will clear you right out, man.
Yeah,
Papaya,
papaya
man,
is supposed
does
to be good.
wonders.
Yeah, the if I take Viagra, it will just sit in the stomach and
No,
it
no, no,
won't get up.
not Viagra,
Hmm.
papaya.
Yeah, papaya I eat every day.
Okay, because that's supposed to have
Really?
enzymes for digestion, right?
And you still
Yeah,
can't take a dump? Then you got some
I don't know.
problems, bro.
Something else. He's saying the digestion. So it's like,
yeah, the digestion is
He's saying
very
it takes too
slow.
long.
So
He's saying
yes,
it takes
yeah,
too long to take a
digestion
dump, right?
takes too long. So I have to take Ayurvedic medicines, and that helps. But
okay.
the thing is, if I take the medicine, it will sit in the stomach for some time, and I don't know when it will get absorbed and when I'll be able to get the erection. So I'll have to use the injection only instead. But woman actually, she was able to somehow make it stand up, and I was able to do it with her.
Yeah, she's a professional, man. That's her specialty, you know. So she's man, she must really be a professional. If she got you. Uh, that was the test.
He's
That was
basically
her
saying with the
test.
right woman, he can defy the laws of physics because he
Yeah,
said he's
yeah,
missing a piece
yeah.
and it's not supposed to work. So he's saying somehow she got to work. That's defying the laws
Mhm.
of, you know.
Oh yeah, and if you're attracted to her, that has a lot to do with it too, because you know, it makes it easier. You know, so that's the thing. It makes it easier. I think it was Barkerman said that he was with an Indian girl in Canada because he's from Toronto, and he said, yeah, man, it was brutal. She was like, he had to actually think of porn, he was saying, on the stream back in 2020 to actually be able to perform. Yeah, I
Man, I
was like,
couldn't believe what Blue H said that one time. He said, you know, it didn't smell right and he had to like pound through it and all that. I was like, what?
that's
How
crazy.
can you even perform like that? It's like,
He just
I don't
that
know.
I mean, Blue H is on just another planet. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it boggles the mind when you think about that. What some guys will do. Um, yeah, just Mark. Oh my goodness, Vindaloo's. That is hilarious. Oh, try a bit of ginger, he says. I don't know if you've tried that, Azrun, but
I've
yeah,
tried ginger, I've tried everything. The medicines help, but
yeah, yeah. It was a Thai girl for EC.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thai girls. So they're working in India. Wow. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
making
There are too many massage parlors now. They're hiring Thai females, so or from the northeast. Northeast women in India have mongoloid features. It's either them or the Thais. So they do a pretty good job of satisfying the man. Actually, if you pay the right price.
wow, wow. I'm so glad that yeah, that's good. That's good. So now you can, you know, just sound a little more relaxed. Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, we were getting into the whole oh yeah, you said were you saying something about skin banks or something?
Yeah, yeah. No, they asked us about, they were talking about India. I said in India, the rural areas, it's very backward. So they consider a female child to be a curse if she's born, actually, if they don't have any male child, because they have to pay dowry when she grows up to the bride's family as a compensation or something like that. So
Hmm.
when she is going to be given to the male's family, the bride's family, the female's family, they have to pay the bride in cash. They have to purchase a car for the groom, and then they have to even purchase an empty site so that he can build a house and all that. All these expenses will be borne by the female's side. So in some cases they determine the sex of the child during before pregnancy itself and have it aborted. That way they've done it so often in India, in rural areas, that there's shortage of women actually in Punjab. Two brothers marry a girl and share her. Things like that happen actually. And in Rajasthan, it's even more worse. Like what happens is that a female child being born first is very unlucky. It's considered unlucky for them. So they'll take the female child, they'll dip it in a pot of milk and watch it suffocate and die.
Oh my, yeah, I've heard they've had documentaries on that where they try to go in there and investigate, and everybody in the village just they they'll they won't tell. You know, it becomes like
Yeah.
yeah, it's really messed up. I mean, That is so sad. Just the whole dowry thing too. It's like if you got
Mm.
a pretty daughter, it's like to me, there's no dowry to be paid. I mean, why would you even want to? I mean, I've seen films where the guys are like, they will spend up the dowry and then demand more money from the
Yeah,
female.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, correct. And in many cases, what they do is they kill the girl because she's not able to pay the dowry. They'll burn her alive. All that has happened actually.
oh my goodness. You talk about a level of barbarism that is horrible. Holy smokes. That is like, I mean, when you think about stuff like that, it makes you wonder if India was like that before the British came there, which it's a possibility, which makes it easy to conquer because the people are already demoralized. I mean, because they're trying to beat off the Muslims for 1,000 years, so you got
Yeah,
those animals over there just invading. And then when somebody starts beating them down, they cry, "Oh my goodness, it's genocide." It's like, yeah, well, what the hell did you do? They genocided through India so bad that's why you got Bangladesh on the other side. And
yeah,
I
I
mean,
just,
from what I
yeah,
understand, it was like the Baghdad thing, all that. When they first went Iraq, it wasn't really about the war. It was more about going to the museums, ransacking them, taking certain artifacts.
it could
So
be.
it's like if you go into, let's say India, like you go back to Temple, Doom, even though it's Hollywood, whatever.
Mhm. Well,
They
I
had
think
these
that movie is
stones. They
banned in
had these
India.
artifacts. They had these artifacts, huh?
That
Yeah,
movie
it is.
is that
He
movie
told me that. He
banned in
told me.
India? The Temple of
I
Doom?
think I
the
think it
Temple
is. I
of
remember you
Doom,
telling me.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not banned, but it was like a vulgar display of how cheap India is. Like they
Uh-huh.
showed how barbaric India is in the movie. It was like to kind of make India look bad. Actually, it's not banned, but the Indians didn't like it when they showed India in such a poor light back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, you got the Westerners making that movie. They just as if they're
Ignore
some type.
that part and look at they had these special stones, right?
Yeah,
Like
those three
the
stones.
tribe or something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So British came in, took the artifacts, right? So we don't know what artifacts like Egypt. They took the Ankhs, they took the artifacts, they took the capstone from the anything of technology is obviously gone. Probably in the Vatican library that no one can go into, whatever, stored away that you don't know about. So what's left over is all you see, but they
Yeah.
took all the
You know
tech.
what's so
So is
funny
that
is yeah, because they're saying Stephen King didn't want to remove the term, but I damn sure if you make a movie about his people, they're gonna be crying. I mean, it's just disgusting, this double standard. I mean, it's horrible. It's like they wanted him to remove the term Maharaja and he refused, leading to the ban. But it's not like, it's kind of, I guess it's a partial, it's like a partial restriction, it says. But I mean, Spielberg has been accused of being like just a horrible human being too, with a lot of stuff, children and stuff like that, the red shoes and all of that. Um, but I mean,
But
yeah,
but I'm saying if civilizations were able to run at their peak, when I say that, I'm saying without any intervention of for anyone else coming in and try to do war, and we want that, we want to take that so no one knows about it. So if we were all operating at our peak levels, you would see completely different. Like those guys over there are experts in that. Like the Doors are experts in the iron making and
yeah.
building and
Yeah.
the
Well, my
different
whole
types of.
thing with Indiana Jones that I didn't see as a kid, I didn't notice it because I was stupid. Is when you get older, you say, well, "This is a white guy running around with a whip." It's like what the? It's like that's his weapon. It's like you talking about some straight underhanded subliminal stuff going on there. And it says the white savior narrative, the whole thing, the protagonist, the person. And I mean, I this don't even surprise me when one of the first
What
films.
if he was one of the good white guys, like we know there are, that help the black guys? What if he's one of
I
those
don't
type of
think
guys?
so.
I've shared before. It seems like that
In
in the
some
movie,
parts
but
of it, he did like portray it like that. Like, okay, this is more than these people eat in a week. They're
because
offering.
exactly, he's an
Yeah.
archaeologist. He
No,
respected
no,
the
he
guy. He's like, look,
definitely,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, what would be smarter was, I would say, is look, eat. half of the food and let somebody eat the other half. But you really not. I mean, Spielberg. What do you expect from Spielberg? If he makes a movie about what he considers to be he's related to, it's going to be, oh my goodness, they are oppressed, all that, and India, and then he'll go and shit on somebody else's culture. It tells you more about him. That's the way I look at it. It tells you more about him. And of course, yeah, he tried to, Indiana Jones, the whole thing. I don't see him making a movie about the British coming there and destroying the country. He definitely wouldn't do that. But he'll
But I
make.
think it's more about these stones because remember he did The Third Kind. He did like all his movies, like even Jurassic Park. All these movies have some sort of.
Mhm.
It's based off of something real, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
he's doing a movie Indiana Jones, even though it's a movie and it's an adventure movie, the stones, something there. It's like what are we not seeing here that he's trying to tell us? I think that's
Yeah,
more of
yeah, there definitely could be stuff. I mean, I still think he's part of the Hollywood child type of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that it showed with that. Um, kind of odd. The whole red shoe thing
on
that
the
they
surface
said,
level, it looks that way. If I'm saying in the deeper level, it says, look, these people have something that we don't have that's way deeper than
or
anything
maybe
technology
just,
could ever.
I mean, something with the stones of the thievery. You know, what was the other one where he had the little Asian kid driving the car for him or something?
That's the same movie. That's the
Oh
little
yeah,
that's
I
dope.
remember
Yeah, that was
somebody
good.
made a joke. I remember back in the day when it came out, they were like, "Yes," he's like, "Oh, where's my little Asian boy?" And it's like, yeah, well, how would you put that? I mean, that's even a disrespect to the Asian, to the Oriental people.
But
It's
it's
like, wow.
hilarious. That kid was hilarious.
Well, of course, it's going to be because that's look at Bonanza, Hop Sing.
Well, see, that's where they said that's where
We're
they
gonna.
said Bruce Lee changed all that, and that's
I
when
don't think he did
the
either.
rap try to imitate that through their music, and they use the same similar clothes and all that, and Wu Tang and all that. You already know that it derived from that. Even Eddie Murphy was saying, man, people be going crazy at the movie theater when they see Bruce Lee, and he was saying, yeah, he used his style when he was playing Beverly Hill Cop, the way he held the gun and whatever. He said, that's all
Mhm.
Bruce Lee. But
Yeah, I mean Bruce.
he's
I
saying
mean,
it went from funny Chinese dude
well, Bruce
to
was
some
mixed
dude
enough
beating,
to be
kicking ass.
remarkable. Remember, one of his grandparents were white, so Bruce is
Yeah,
pure Chinese. They always got to have that.
German.
Yeah, they don't want to put in pure Hop Sing. If Hop Sing just basically, he's like, okay, making food for Bonanza and all of that. And Lauren Green was a blatant racist. Haas, the big tough guy, the son, he exposed a lot of that, where he would tell people, he's like, yeah, they hate you, they don't like you, and
No, that scene in the movie Dragon where he went to the gym and the white guy's like, we don't want you, we don't want you to be
I
some.
think it was a black guy with
Yeah,
them too. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but
it was like two white guys and a black guy, and they were
yeah,
like, yeah,
but it
we
showed,
don't want,
and you
we
see
don't
that
want your kind around here because
you see
my
that
old man went to Nam. He's like,
yeah,
Nam, that's
you
not
see
even
that
Chinese.
today.
It's not even Chinese.
Steven from Django is not a fictional character. That's a real stereotype that exists throughout society, and we see it with a lot of these YouTube channels with the Black Republicans, and we see it with other just regular. I mean, this is like some type of genetic thing that comes down where it makes me really wonder. It really makes me wonder when I think about it. And India got the same thing. You're not going to take over a country unless they have those cracks in it to where you can get in. And it just, the more I look at it, like how Azarun is saying, I mean, you got people doing this thing to their own children, and it's like, what the heck? It just
That's
the menace
crazy.
says there's only two routes after the first time, either they're hypnotic worship or waking up from the illusion. Yeah, yeah, it's really yeah.
I was going
But
to
that
ask you
whole
something earlier. I just remembered. But yeah, go ahead,
oh,
finish.
what happened?
I was going to ask you something about the skin thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we know that they can use pigs to skin graft because I remember a guy when I was in junior high school. Um, he had he got bit by like a shark. It wasn't a great white or anything. I think it was like a smaller shark, but it bit out a chunk of his like calf. And he's showing me, look, they grafted pig skin. It looked kind of weird, but at the same time, it looked like skin. It looked like similar to his color. And I was thinking, like, how is that even possible? It's like a chunk missing. It filled it in with pigskin. I don't
Well,
know
the
how they did
thing
it, but
here,
it,
yes, genetically engineered pig skin can be used as temporary skin grafts for humans, particularly in for treating severe burns. It's called xenotransplantation technology. Use specially bred gene edited pigs to remove sugars that cause immediate human immune rejection. Wow, there's some Frankenstein stuff going on here, offering a ready available alternative to a human cadaver skin. So these skin banks, I guess, in India, China, Israel, United States, are human cadaver skin banks, because the pig skin obviously has to be gene edited, because now they have gene editing beyond CRISPR. CRISPR was something that would it would clip the gene in a certain way, and now they figured out how to do it without clipping the gene, clips the gene in a different. I mean, the gene editing is so off the handle now. They use this for a kid that's been on like immunosuppressants for most of his life, and now I think he's not on the immunosuppressants. They use the gene editing to go in. So it's kind of like that movie Elysium, where they sit on that table and it cures any genetic problem. All of the stuff that they're showing in these movies are slowly but surely probably already existing. But
yeah.
yeah,
No, but the main question was that was leading up to the question. So I was leading up to the question about that. So there's a compatibility form factor there, so they have to prepare it so it adapts and it doesn't reject it or whatever. So there's something there too. But it is in the end it is somewhat compatible. So people are using it. It's there.
if you got a gene
So
edited,
because no, I'm still asking the question. So if that's the case, shouldn't the pigs that have a similar pigmentation, that's funny, pigs pigmentation, because that the regular color is like the pink, they call the pink pig,
yeah,
what,
pink,
the
yeah.
white pig,
Well,
whatever. So do these pigs have to go through similar radiation progression, like you said, the humans are, to eventually turn black? And I'm looking up, okay, there are black pigs, but they're like
yeah.
considered rare.
Yeah.
So are they going through a similar progression as we would, because they have a similar skin and they can get burned just like the sun, all that. So would you say we're going through a similar progression that they could eventually, or they should eventually turn darker?
Well, they could have been bred that way, because it says domestic, they're domesticated, right? And generally considered to be devoid of melanin. So when you see some humans that are very, very, they have pheomelanin, which is responsible for the green eyes, the red hair, the yellows and red hues.
Well,
This
that's to say they can't adapt.
well, no, it's not
Right.
that they can't adapt. You see some of these humans, they have kind of a pink hue. So you'll see some people that might be mistakenly called white that are, this is why I said Europe and all of this stuff is just crap for trying to explain people. It's saying it's just bundling up in one thing. You have some people that fall into that category that have skin that are similar to the pig color, like I showed it on the hand here. I mean, this lady's hand is fits right in there with these other pig things.
That's messed up, though. That's like that's
No,
that's
well,
showing up.
this is science. You see, as messed up as it is, this is when I say
Yeah,
stuff
and we
about
can use the skin. Yeah, we're very
look,
similar. That's why I
no,
call
you
them
can't
pigs.
use the skin. You can't see. That's the thing. We got to remember, you can't use the skin when you look at something like this. The science, if people get offended, that's a personal problem. Just the way if black supremacists get offended, trying to say, oh, they built. No, man, your ancestors were albino. It just like this is what your great ancestral mother might have looked like on the left. She definitely wasn't black. She was an albino, just like all of our ancestors were possibly albino. That's what it points to, because we all got blue eyes. And if the white person or the pink person gets, this is science. This is
You have
science.
to say a black phenotype. That's
Well,
albino.
I mean, the pigs, and that's a very good question you have. It's like any animal like that, like that's pink like a pig, or that looks more like a cave creature. If you look at underwater cave creatures, they have a pinkish hue. If you look at certain deep sea creatures, there's something that reside on the bottom of the sea ocean called sea pigs, funny enough. And they look kind of pinkish, like a whitish pink, devoid of melanin again. So it says here that it's drastically reduced production due to selective breeding. So just the way it seems that they breed these albino animals for experiments in the laboratory, it says their pink color is actually the default. Wow, look at this. Look at this, because, you know, they have the pigs with the hair, the wilder type of pigs. This is crazy. This adds into the architects of humanity. Their pink color is actually the default skin color, just the way the
I was getting
albino.
that. That's exactly why I was asking that question, because I was
Wow.
saying, okay, shouldn't there be a
Excellent
progression there, right?
question, man. Lacking the pigment that provides UV protection, which is why they are susceptible to sunburn. Oh my goodness. And the genetic cause, they're trying to say it's a mutation, but that's through breeding, which regulates the melanocyte, so the melanin cells activities, stopping the production. Selective breeding, of course. This lack of pigment is a result of domestication. So are the humans that have this type of skin tone could have been when we were domesticated by
Okay, so
possible.
that's the answer. That's the answer. So they keep them in the lab, therefore they will stay that original
Yes.
thing. That
And if
original.
they're
There it is.
released, it says, you know, the domestication and breeding as opposed to wild boars, which have dark hair and skin for protection. So the sensitivity, because they lack melanin, pink pigs often need protection from the sun to avoid damage. So maybe that's why in the pig pens they roll in the mud or something like that. I know there has to be
Well,
other
that
reasons.
explains it. That means the came from the domestication thing came from the wild boar originally, and there's got to be an
But the
albino
wild
wild
boar,
boar
the
that eventually.
The
Yeah.
default is the pink pig. So if the wild boar is the adapted pig, they know, the people that are running the planet know about our original template. Because if they know that you could take a pig with melanin and hair and breed it back to the default, it shows that they know that the default, not just for animals, but for humans and all life in general, is the non-melanated version. And then if you go a step before the non-melanated version, it might go into the transparent stuff that we see deep in the ocean that actually are bioluminescent as well, which could maybe fit a piece of the puzzle when ancient civilizations might have these myths about glowing beings. Now, a glowing being, if we're trying to interpret that, could be a bioluminescent being, a being that has a clearer type of skin that produces its own light from within, just the way these bioluminescent sea creatures produce their own light. This is just speculation based on the scientific evidence we have of default non-melanated animals and humans, which is much more scientific than anything evolution has presented. I mean, evolution just presents.
Yeah, so I think the pig thing's going to help too. You can add that to the library.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and you know, we're open. See, this is science, because if we get more information, we'll change the theory to fit the evidence. Evolution will always change the evidence to fit the theory, well, or to fit the religion, basically.
They'll just make stuff up, just like
Yeah.
gravity, whatever.
Well, they have, like, when they found even their own stuff, they found like a skull that they themselves dated to like 3.5 million years, and they pushed it back to like 1.9 million, so it would fit in their fake category of Australopithecus, the imaginary ape person, which is said to be an ape. But then they take the skull fragments, spread them out a little to make, oh, look, the brain was bigger. But if you reconstruct the skull properly, it doesn't have a larger brain capacity. They try to do
3
that.
million years.
Well, they try to say that, and there's no dating method for 3 million years.
How is a skull going to last 3 million years?
Well, there's honestly, there's no scientific evidence that it is 3.5 million years. This is the fairy tale that they sell because
How
I
long does it
think
take for bones to break down?
it depends on what they're in. So if they're in a certain like strata or certain type of the surrounding sand or stuff like that. So that will determine how long something will last. Like I think it's Professor.
They're saying between 6 and 30 years, depending on the conditions.
Yes, but if it's surrounded by silted sediment, it'll freeze it kind of into that thing, and the rocks and stuff will infiltrate it. So now you're getting a rock fossil of what the bone was. So you get like a kind of like a negative picture, and it kind of shows you, oh, this is what it was, but it's made out of stone now, and that's how a lot of fossils are there. Marvin Lubbenau, he wrote a book, Bones of Contention, and he really broke it down scientifically, showing how a lot of these, the Neanderthal jaws, um, he says the skulls, right, were constructed with the lower jaw intentionally unhinged or slid forward. And they do this to create a more primitive muzzle-like appearance. These are the tricks that these liars do, that they use, and they're paid well for it. The university will fund them another grant if they lie good enough and repeat the lie to the younger generations. So, yeah, this is Lubbenau, Jack Cuozzo. He's an orthodontist, and he was the one that was breaking down that the bridges. He said the long lifespans beyond the manipulation of bones. Cuozzo disagrees with Lubbenau on some points because Lubbenau was saying it could be to rickets or something with the Neanderthal bones. He's saying no, these were extremely long-lived humans. He believes their heavy brow ridges and robust jaws are the results of bones that continue to grow and remodel over lifespans of 200 to 300 years. And that's being conservative. These could be 600, 700, 800-year-old individuals. If looking at the bones, like the brow ridge that continues to grow and other bones, now you're getting a date saying, wait a second, this has to accumulate over a certain amount of decades. And that is why it has this appearance, not because it was a Neanderthal, because it was found in Neander Valley in Germany, and Prosh and all these other guys start lying. Oh, this is a Neanderthal, just again, an insecure man who has been at the bottom of the barrel for his whole life, and he's trying to scrape his way up and lie to get out of the barrel. So Lubbenau really.
No, but that's the status quo. If I don't think it's him, I think it's the narrative. If that's what they want you to believe, then that's part of the
Yeah, if
higher.
he wants, yeah, he's the well-paid liar. He's like, look, I'm going to get a degree in lying. It's like I said on the last stream. These guys have master's degrees in lying, PhD in lying. But with the pigs, it's saying are pink pigs natural? And of course, we have to think when we read these things. So this is, I mean, oh my goodness. Humans found a natural mutation. Oh my goodness. In the MC1R gene that controls production of eumelanin in the dermis. And because humans often breed for phenotypical traits, this mutation was strengthened after many generations until the pigs had no melanin at all and were completely pink. So the one thing is thinking they knew about the MCR1 gene. Breeding, I could see definitely. Why would you do that though? Why? I mean, there's something about pigs to me that seems a little similar to humans. I'm not sure.
What's the eye color?
Every-
What's the eye color of a pink pig?
Albino. Yeah.
A pink pig has. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to check it again. Go ahead, Azrun, you had something?
Yeah, just check this out because right now we're living in an epoch called Shweta Varaha Kalpa. Shwet Varaha means pig. So there is some relationship between pig and human beings. Just check, just type it on the computer right now. I forgot what it was. Shweta Varaha Kalpa, relationship between the pig and the human beings according to the Vedas. Just type it, MD.
Wow, that's kind of deep. It says here pink pigs can have brown, black eyes, but they sometimes have light brown, hazel, rarely blue or pink eyes, but they can have that. So,
Really?
um, and to have dark eyes, it's like seeing a person with pinker or beigeish or pale skin with dark eyes and dark hair, and we do see that. But they can have lighter eyes. So it's very similar. What was it you wanted me to add? Right, type in Azrun.
Yeah, Shweta Varaha Kalpa, SH
How do
VETA,
what? SH
VETA,
VETA
space Varaha, VAR.
Wait, SHVETA.
Yeah,
All right.
space VAR,
VAR.
AHA.
Okay. And Kalpa. I'm supposed to because
Yeah, space
okay.
Kalpa, KALPA.
Okay. It says here that the current active cosmic day, Kalpa, in Hindu cosmology spanning 4.32 billion years. This is hilarious. This is probably where they got the age saying, oh, the Earth is 4.3 billion years. These guys are thieving. Just, oh my goodness. The thievery from the Western is just unsurpassed. In the first day of the 51st year of Brahma. All right. So what you're saying assumed the form of a white boar. Holy smokes. This is odd. Yeah, this is so Vishnu became a white boar. Varaha.
Albino boar is what they're saying. Albino boar.
Albino. Wow, this is, man, it gets very deep. So in other words, do they have us committed in a form of cannibalism by eating pigs? Pigs might be a form of indirect cannibalism because they're pushing it everywhere. They're pushing it and what do they say? The cannibals, that human meat tastes sweet. Pork is a very tasty meat. I have to admit. I don't
Tastes like bacon, man.
Yeah, I haven't eaten it for a very long time. But yeah, I stopped eating it in the late 90s.
That's why they call the cops pigs, you know.
Well, no, I think. Well, is that why they call them pigs? I forgot why they call them.
That's why they call them pigs.
Wow. I thought it was like the Black Panthers that created calling them pigs. I'm not sure, but
It's a deeper meaning than just being white. It's a
yeah. No, it wasn't white. It wasn't about a skin color because you got, black cops. They're all basically, they're all part of the same cult. They'll kill you for $30 an hour. Basically, you look at that. It's like, just thinking of that you got people that will kill you, basically for health insurance. For their kid, it's when you look at the mind game that power plays on a person. I mean, yeah.
Do you remember that movie, Training Day? Where it shows Snoop like in a wheelchair, and then they pull up to Snoop, and he's like, "Man, it smells like bacon up in this," I was like, there's a reference.
Yeah, no, he definitely. I mean, I've seen some good cops, and I know some people are like, "Oh, well, there's none." I've seen some. I mean, I remember one time we went to buy a car, and we were bringing it back on the Long Island Expressway, and of course, we didn't have plates, and I was driving in front of it, and I told my friend, "All right, he knew the guy." Said, "You drive, you drive the car with the fake plates, and we'll get it to the place we're going to park it and sell it." And of course, the cop pulled up, and I was like, "Holy smoke!" And we were pulled over, and he let us go. My friend, had the gift of gab, and we were like, "Look, we just bought the car," and he goes, "Look, all right, but if any other cop stops you, I ain't got nothing to do with that." And we were like, "Thanks."
There you go. I mean, see, these are the type of guys who
And my friend was
simply
black.
don't know what's going.
Yeah. The friend I was driving the car with.
They're simply don't know what's going on, and they're trying to just be decent. These are the type of people you're talking about.
Yeah, no,
it could be a white guy, it
good,
could be a black guy, it could be whatever.
good and bad, and all people, and there's good, and that's where people need to understand this. It's like no matter what, like with the Rosewood, you're gonna have good people. You have a lot of good white people that are there, or and I don't even like to say the word white or black people because it's just not a correct way of defining people, but for lack of a better word, or because people understand it when you say it, to say, yeah, there is. And I can understand people having a bias. You got some people that just have a hatred for any type of law enforcement. But I realize it's like, look, a lot of these people are getting their clock cleaned like everybody else, and they're traumatized. When you just think of the average day of what cops go through, regular blue and whites, it's pretty stressful. They
But
have a
MD, you've heard of the Stanford experiment, right? Where they did that experiment, that mock experiments of putting a guy in jail, and one was the guard, one was the prisoner,
Mhm,
and they knew it was an experiment. The participants knew they were experimenting, but it got to them. It got to
mhm.
the point where the prisoner really hated the guard,
Oh
and the
yeah,
guard thought he had to abuse the prisoner, and
they
they said it consumed them, even though it was all fake.
they had to stop the experiment, right?
Yeah.
Because it got, they interviewed one of the guys that was given the position of being a guard. He
Hmm.
still feels the same way today. Like it was like maybe 10 or 20 years ago they interviewed him. The guy was still a piece of crap. And he's like, oh, well, what I did was right. And I'm like, holy smokes. That
And it goes
little bit of
deeper
a,
than we realize.
yeah, well, you look at some people, and I think it stems from maybe trauma when they were younger. Because if you're a person that has your stuff together, you're not going to let that happen, because it was a very good experiment in showing how giving somebody authority that's unearned,
Hmm.
can lead them into just being a total evil bastard. And that's what we see. I mean,
So it
shit.
shows you more about human nature at
No,
its
I don't think
core.
it's
We have
human
we have a
nature.
super
No,
chat, right?
you can't blame all of us for that. No,
No,
I
not
don't think.
all of us, but it's in a lot of us.
No,
I'm
it
just
can't.
saying.
It's human nature is the evolution
Hmm.
explanation. To say, oh, it's human nature. It's like, not mine, not mine.
Yeah, but in certain people it is. Like you give them power and they abuse it.
I think certain people, it's possible, but we have to really look at a scientific way to say, okay,
Hmm.
maybe is it, or is it a behaviorally taught thing? Is it taught through behavior? Is it taught through trauma? Or is it,
And everyone sees the world in a different way. That's the issue. We want them to see it the way we see it. Oh, why
Yeah,
couldn't they
I could
see
agree
that?
with
Well,
that.
that's
well,
you.
no, it's not
You
about.
can see it. This guy can't see it because he's on some other thing. Maybe he sees something else that you don't
What
see,
he might
and
see
you're
it, right?
assuming.
You know how he might see it? Make him the prisoner and the other guy the guard, and make sure the other guy abuses him, not a good guard, and say, now, how do you like it? Do you think it's right now? And some people, you might kind of keep them in there for a little while. It's like somebody who beats somebody up and think it's good. But then when you beat the hell out of them and say, now, do you still think it's good? Or would you be a little more to say, maybe we shouldn't physically fight at first? It's like you want to see how it feels. And honestly, I've learned that sometimes that's the only way you can teach people when you think about it. That.
And a lot of these guys, and a lot of time these guys don't learn. You can beat them
Well,
down,
no,
kick their teeth out. They're still
no,
not going to
no.
learn.
See, that sometimes you don't got to go too far. It's sort
It
of like,
means it's not the correct way of doing that. There's something else. If that's what he needs, then hopefully that helps. But maybe it's
well,
something
maybe you're
else, and
not.
you're beating the guy down for no
If we're
reason.
looking for answers, we say, all right, this guy ain't stealing, and those laws of chopping the hand off, right? Not for stealing food, but for stealing. Be like, okay, you doing some stuff. Now, is that person going to be less inclined to steal? From somebody. Say,
I guarantee you they'll continue stealing with the other hand. I guarantee that.
well,
That's
you
just who
can't.
they are. It's like just like we
You
said, when
cannot
someone says,
guarantee. You cannot guarantee that. You see what I'm saying? When you say I guarantee you that they're going to stay, we don't know that for sure. So
I'm
if
not
we,
guaranteed, I'm saying the likelihood is high because that's what their,
it's
thing is.
possible. It's possible, but when the only way to know is to have scientific data.
We have to answer Alexis June donated $2. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
He's asking what really happened to the dinosaurs. So what do you think?
The dinosaurs honestly could still, these fossils could still exist. Like when they say something is extinct, the first thing I think is, okay, these are liars that told me George Washington was good, never told a lie. They told me Columbus, all of this stuff. So right there, it's suspicious, and I have to look into it. So with the dinosaurs, right? why wouldn't there be a place on Earth where they could still exist? That when they say something is extinct, it's because that's their biased opinion. So the coelacanth.
Is that the case? I don't know. Is that do they
Well,
both they
all
consider
right.
crocodile
I'm
or
giving
alligator
examples. I'm
a
giving
dinosaur?
examples. I'm giving examples of animals they said were extinct for 300 million years, and then they caught the coelacanth off the coast of Africa, I think 75 years ago or something. So now they're showing. Now again, the liar always got to lie. So, they must have been in some type of no. You said they were extinct for 300 million years, and they caught it off the thing. Then they were moving a T-Rex bone on a flatbed, and the fossil, they hit a curve and it slipped off the thing and cracked. And they noticed there was elastic tissue inside of the fossil still. So they were saying that, look, something that's 200 and over even a million years, you're not going to have those blood vessels and that elasticity in it. And then they started with the lies. Oh, well, they could have been this and that. And they start just lying.
But real quick, how can something be deemed extinct if we have not mapped the whole world?
Exactly. So this is the answer Alexis's question is, I think personally, when they say something extinct, it's just that it's living somewhere where they haven't found a living version. Just like the coelacanth when it was popped up and caught, and they catch them on the regular now, I heard. So there's also been other instances of animals that they said are extinct that still have been found to exist. So, and I could see something maybe like the dodo bird, where they say that they made those animals extinct when invaders came, what they call settlers, and hunted them until there was no more. Just like the Tasmanian people. So the only people that we have documented that have committed genocide, and this is why I don't like to use the word European, because I don't think it was Slovakians or Czech Republic or Polish or something, but it was definitely the English. We have Spain, France, the Dutch, and parts of Germany and Italy. So those are the main culprits for the, clearly when you look at Tasmania, it's like, holy smokes. It's like, these are the same people telling me, oh, we got to worry about birth rates. But you're a monster. You're a monster that have eliminated not only different species of animals, the dodo bird and stuff, but also people. And people still actually look at these people as, oh, they're advanced or something. These are monsters, man. And like you said, it's not all white people. They say the word white people and European so they can lump all the innocent people in with them. White people and black people should protest them. Like, don't call me that. But you go to Europe, they might say they're white now. When I went, they wouldn't say that. They would say, oh, I'm French.
It'd be an insult.
I'm Belgian. I'm Russian. A Russian is not a German. A German is not a Czech. A Czech is not a Frenchman. And a Frenchman is not an Englishman. These are clearly different people, but they'll lump them together. Just the way a Nigerian is not a Cameroonian or a Liberian or a Moroccan or a Ugandan. These are clear, or an Ethiopian. These are different people when you look at them, but they do this to hide the evil ones. They do this so you don't see it clearly. And then the idiots, remember the law of stupidity. The majority of people are falling in, they're in a stupor. These are the people that will say, oh no, we're all the same. And they'll say, oh, the European, the Greek goddess of bullshit, basically. It's not the Greek goddess of victory. And then, oh, Europa and all this. It's so much BS. But the majority of people are stupid. They want to be part of that group, even though they're not really part of that group. If you want to take, this is the thing when people say, oh, slavery was a long time ago, all this stuff. Oh, but you want to take the accomplishments from back then, but you don't want to take the bad stuff. This is to show you the immaturity of the Western lie. The Western world is a lie. It is not a civilization. Because when they say this stuff, oh, it was so long ago. All right, well, then don't talk about the good stuff. Stop singing the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, we already established we're under the trademark United, so we already know that we're,
I don't even, I'll go beyond that.
for the monarchy.
We don't even need to use that. Let's look at their behavior. They could take those trademarks and all that shit. We know where they could stuff them. Your behavior is atrocious. You're a monster. You're not a human being. These are monsters that torture human beings. And I'm surprised people don't see it because their ego is blinding them. They've been told they're good. They're the good. They wear the white horse. They ride. They're from heaven. Nah, hell no. Hell no. That shit, that don't float. That don't float according to the evidence, not because of my opinion. It's saying, let me look at what you've done. And now when we look at evolution, oh my goodness, they're like, no, we're going to make it seem scientific. Evolution is basically scientific blackface, saying that, they can't do the Al Jolson anymore. So they're like, hey, we'll make models of that, make black people look closer to apes. They had an exhibit in the Museum of Natural History. And I got to look through my pictures to see if hopefully I got the picture before they changed the exhibit, where you walk in and you see two black people naked models standing in like tall grass in a scene that's supposed to be the African savannah, looking like half like primitive humans or something. Then the next window had a Chinese couple with a man and a woman, and then across on the other side had a white guy with an animal coat carrying firewood to like a hut, and it says modern man. The Chinese protest, they were like, you better change that stuff, and they only show the guy now. They don't show the couple. I mean, everybody they try to make seem less than human, even other whites, the Irish and all of that. They're like, nah, that's not fully developed yet. You're not fully developed unless you get like to England, Scotland, Norway, stuff like that. And people are so brainwashed with that crap. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we all do have an albino template, but we know that the more melanin you gain is actually protection from this artificial environment. It's not to say that you're better than the original templates, and it's not to say the original templates are better than the ones that have adapted to the planet. Something is behind all of this. Something created everything. And a lot of people don't like that. But like I said, they can take a number and stand behind the other people. People have been unsubscribing. Great. When somebody unsubscribes, it's like you got to take the trash. Oh, the trash walked outside for itself. Great. That helped me. That's a great thing, because I know people are going to get angry with this because it's pulling the rug from under their feet. It tells them that you ain't shit, and you never were and probably never will be, unless you change your attitude and your behavior. And most people won't. You see people hold on to these prejudices, black, white, all type of, till they pass into the next world. They just don't learn the lesson. When you really think about it, it's like, wow, you got a finite time on earth and you spent it hating people? You spent the time hating people? If somebody could just listen to me saying that, and just be like, look, man, you see people that are gone. Don't you wish you would have loved them a little more? I don't need to be right. Sometimes it's better to be kind. It's to say, you know what? Yeah, whatever you want to believe, whatever. Just so the person, it's like, look, man, just stay in Fantasy Island. That's cool. Because I know the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I can't wake nobody up. I just got to produce these productions, have people on that want to, to always be open. Say, oh, somebody wants to say something, and the link is pinned to the top. I see these other shows, they're scared shitless to put that link up there because they might be afraid that somebody like me might come on and just not yell, but just say, really? Look, like Mr. X was saying, breakfast talk. These guys are like, I don't even know what to call. I don't even know what to classify that as. What level of psychiatric ward that is. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know if you've checked it out lately, Mr. X.
Oh no, I check it out. Sometimes I get a little bored. I just check it out when people argue with creationists come on and debates, and sometimes it gets a little interesting. But when they talk, they just talk nonsense. They make no sense, and they have an ego about them, trying to think they're smarter than they really are. It's kind of pathetic. But
Yeah.
the people who hate other people who don't look like them, my question is, where you been your whole life? Have you gotten along with people who look like yourself? Because I know I haven't, and I'm sure that's the case of majority of people. So it's just like deal with
Yeah.
reality. You know
The
what I'm
biggest
saying?
enemy is the person that looks like us.
I mean, my belief system is judge people as individuals. And you know what? It works.
Yeah.
It really does work. I can go through life like that, and it's never going to kick me in the ass if I judge people as individuals. It's never going to kick me in the ass. You know? I don't
You're
care what you
right.
look like. I care what kind of person you are. Are you are
You're
you
right.
a stand-up person or are you a piece of crap? You know what I mean? That's all I care
Absolutely.
about. And it
Yeah.
works. I'm not
Because
going to
you're
get
looking
kicked
at
in
the
the ass.
behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I judge people who say, "Hey, they look like me, so they must be okay," I'm gonna get kicked in the ass. I already know what's coming, so I don't need to go there.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's just what you can live. Reality is a bitch. Reality will always beat you. You're never gonna beat reality. You know,
Yeah.
and that's
Reality. Yeah.
yeah. So
I think Azroon, did you have something to say? Oh wait, I think Scribe put something in here. The document frequently cited in conspiracy theories regarding Jesuit manipulation and control of societies is the Moneda Secreta, or secret institutions of the Jesuits.
hmm.
Um, yeah, what do you mean by this?
Yeah, it basically lays out the myth right there. First published between 1612, 1640. This document allegedly outlines methods for Jesuits to gain wealth, influence politics, and manipulate people, particularly by managing the actions of princes and wealthy individuals. So
Mhm.
it's reflection of it's pretty much their oath. Like there's an oath they have, whatever, that they say, you have to do this, you got to control the propaganda, you got to control the people's minds, you have to make up fake stuff, and it's literally in this PDF file, or it's a book, actual thing you can download, and it lays it all out for you right there. So it's like this has been going on that long ago. It's like they're kind of on their side. There's many different groups, Jesuits, Freemasons, all these different groups, but just this one particular group has very deep roots. They talk about the Black Pope and stuff and all that. They say the Jesuits have some piece in this or whatever. So they all have the same similar goal to basically influence everything, politics, whatever, to manipulate everybody, and that's what this is. Yeah.
I mean, we're in some crazy. It is kind of a crazy, wild
So
world.
basically, that deals with Darwin and all this other stuff that they have a hand in all that to make you think you came from an ape and everything else. So it's influence everything, politics, science, everything to fit your agenda. You know,
Well, they try to.
hence all the lies, hence all the lies and all the made up stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I think
Can I
when
add
we
my
were.
2 cents in
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this?
definitely, definitely.
Because I was looking up this guy, in the military, Michael Aquino. He was a colonel, high ranking, and he was a devout Satanist. He actually went on talk shows talking about it, part of the Temple of Set. And what's interesting was he was actually his group. They ran some type of army program for children, and they got sued for like $60 million for the abuse of children. And it was really highly documented. They had plenty of evidence to show that it did happen. And of course, he was acquitted of this. But this Satanistic group, this goes to all levels, That's really what's behind the scene. They're all part, whether they call it the Vatican or whether it's some other political group. I think they're all tied in together. I really do. To the same religion that is really what's in control of this whole situation. Yeah, if you look him up on Wikipedia, you'll see I won't say the name, but some allegations against children. And 58 out of 100 children who attended his daycare center showed signs of physical and mental signs of abuse. And yeah, this is very widespread. It's like you mentioned before about 500,000 children a year going missing, and that's just what's reported. There are things going on that, on high levels, that this is involved in, And
Yeah.
I, no matter what organization, because there's a million organizations we could go through, and it would just boggle your mind. But if you can break it down to one thing, and I think that all paths lead to the same area, same direction.
Yeah. If we're both searching for truth, we'll meet up at the same place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the
We,
end
we
of the
can
day.
take different routes and we'll meet up at the same place.
Mhm.
Because there's different routes to get to the truth. The main thing is we both meet up at that same thing saying, wow, wait a minute. It shows that humans were created. We might not know how, but we know they were created. It's not by chance. It's not evolution. It's not this thing that they kind of keep trying to brainwash us with. I mean, all the people that are saying there's too many people on the earth, but this guy Yuva or something, he wrote books like The Story of Us. He's like so evolution. He's one of the WBEF type of guys saying, "Oh, we got too many people on the earth." All of these guys have been infected with the religion of evolution that say that.
But it's probably tied into Satanism too, because
Probably
you
deep
you
into that.
see the evil that it's caused throughout the history of the world.
Yeah.
The oppression, the
Hmm.
slavery, the discrimination against other people.
Hmm.
It's you can go on and on where it's led to. It hasn't led to anything good, nothing positive.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, it's they yeah, yeah, they really it I tell you, man, a kid would look if I look at it like, through the eyes of when I was younger, it's sort of like it's monsters. It's straight monsters. It's like what was that saying? We stop looking under the bed for monsters when we realize they're inside of us. And it's
Hmm.
so true. It is so true,
And if
man.
we're just highly evolved chemicals, guess what? There's nothing evil going on here. It's just nobody would look at any of this as evil if that were true. But that's
Yeah.
obviously not true because we're obviously it bothers us. So we're
Yeah.
something more than just a bag of chemicals that by
Hmm.
accident. We have something in us, a consciousness that knows right
Well,
from wrong.
that would be called self-preservation, Mr. X. That would be the number one reason why
But
someone would be
why would
like,
I feel it's
it's either
wrong
me or
to
you.
no, no, but why would I feel it's wrong to oppress other people for no reason? Why would I look at that when I hear about stories about, how young children are treated that I have no relation to, that has nothing to do with my survival or my children? Why would I feel that so wrong that's wrong for that to occur, you know? It's got to be something more than just self-preservation.
No, self. That's the same reason they tell you, like, well, if we don't have the secrets and China will get it, or Russia will get it, whatever. It's like, what is that? If we don't have the nukes, if we don't have all this stuff, what is that? That's all pure self self-preservation, and then you have narcissism, and you have all. It's just pure greed at this point. My family can't eat. Your family ain't gonna eat either. It's like if
Well,
I'm gonna, if
okay.
it's like it's like the slave asking the slave master, why am I a slave? Well, if I'm not your slave, then you're going to end up your group is going to end up killing me or enslaving me. So it's that dog eat dog situation. So self
Well,
preservation is the number one thing, right?
like I
Just
always
like any
thought
animal,
stealing was,
survivability, survival.
but I don't think stealing is right. I don't think stealing from other people is right. I never thought that way. But there's other people who think stealing is perfectly
But when
fine.
you're put in
So,
a situation where you have to or you're dead, what are you going to do?
what do you mean dead? Like what
As in, let's
situation?
say our family's going to settle down here. It seems like a nice piece of land. Next year or two, next thing you know, these other guys move in and they're like, "Hey, we want your land." And you're like, no, what do you mean? We've been here we don't care. Either we're gonna force you out or physically, that situation, which happens all the time in the
Yeah, but
States,
who are those
especially with
people? Are
military.
they doing it for self-preservation or are they doing it for greed? I'd
No,
say
they're
they're
coming in
doing it
because they
for
want to
greed.
conquer. I mean, like the Vikings, they're going around conquering. They go there, they take the
Right.
women.
But it's not based on self-preservation. It's based on
Of
conquest. It's based
course,
on
it's
greed.
self-preservation
Yeah.
and wealth to bring the tribe bigger and bigger, and
No, it's
that whole
not
thing.
self-preservation at all. It's greed, right?
Yeah.
No, self-preservation to keep your tribe going. If you die and all
Wait,
your
who are
tribesmen
you
don't
talking
have a
about? The
leader,
people that are invading or the people that are defending from the invaders?
everybody.
No, it's not everybody.
Everybody is
People
in
that are
this. Yes,
invading
because
are not
if
self-preservation.
you're not protected, I can come in and take over your land.
No, but that's not the people that are coming in to take it over are not doing that for their own self-preservation. So it's not
No, they
everybody.
want expansion. They need food.
Well, no,
They need resources.
that's the monsters. If they are
Well, in
coming
their
over,
mind, they need resources.
it
They need to
doesn't
eat,
matter
right?
what it is in their mind.
So
If
they're going to
somebody,
starve to death and not do anything.
how, look, I don't know how, I'm not smart enough to explain it to you, but somebody coming over to take your stuff is not them trying to
Right.
preserve themselves. The
Yeah, what
people
did
trying
Columbus
So
and
being
the explorers
hungry
do?
and your family not having food
No,
on the
they were
table,
going
why are
for
you
saying that
why
that's
gold.
don't
not.
you why are you coming to take somebody else's food then? That's not self-preservation.
That's how it is.
That's
That's how
not
it
how
is.
it is. All right, put it this way. They have the documents and all of that, them coming over, not having food, and then being taught, okay, look, we have food, and then we teach you how to grow it. And then once you get to grow it, then they try to kill you and get rid of
Yeah.
you.
We don't got
Is that
time for that. Yeah,
self-preservation? Is that self-preservation? That's what I'm saying. You can't say it's everybody's self-preservation. Now you're justifying slavery and everything. That's just
Well, I put self-preservation and greed together.
no, it's not.
No.
It's greed, and the other people that are being oppressed, that's self-preservation. So the
Yes.
person that's enslaving people and using them as forced labor, their self-preservation by enslaving those other people, I don't understand it. I don't think that's
No.
correct.
Because in their mind, it's like I
They
need to
just
do
don't
this
want to do the
job
work.
in order to feed my family. As long
No,
as I'm
you
not a
don't need
slave,
to
I'm
do that
cool.
job. If you need to grow food and stop stealing stuff, raise your cattle, do that, and feed your family. No, oh, you're a lazy, greedy bastard, like we see everything that came out of the Western world is. Oh, now I understand what you are. A thieving, lazy bastard. That's a
You saw how
murderer.
they did it. They brought in all
And
the
that's not
ships. They took our,
self-preservation.
killed the Native Americans, committed
No,
Well, look
genocide.
at the
no
Spanish
Right? Took their
colonials.
shit
What are they
over.
going for?
Now we
Gold.
got it right. They
I-
took
I-
their
Look at the
shit
Spanish
over. They killed them
colonizers. They
all,
were going
man.
for
And that's
gold.
self-preservation, right? So they killed them all, and you're telling me that's self-preservation?
In the mind of the monarchy, yes.
It's not so. I don't want to hear in the mind of whatever. I'm hearing science. When somebody does that shit, is that self-preservation? I don't want to hear in the mind of the monarchy all this religious bullshit. I want to hear if somebody
No,
does
it's not
that,
religious. The
well, you're
king's
acting like
queens,
they're not wrong. Oh, it's just self-preservation. That sounds like evolution.
Scribe, did they need gold for self-preservation? The conquistadors, did they need gold to survive?
No, I'm saying they took it. That whole thing took it to a
It's a
different
yes or
level.
no
I'm saying
answer.
I'm talking about if you're on the land.
He asked
There's
you
no
a
cops.
question.
You're living back in the day. So will someone come up to you and take your shit?
It's
Mad Max type of
we're
situation.
not saying whether or not they will do it. We're saying if they do that, they're a thief. It is not self-preservation. So if somebody
Exactly.
comes to take your stuff, that's called a thief. A
Okay, so you have
murderer.
thieves that don't need it, and then you have other people who are dying of hunger who
If
just
you're a
want to rob
thief,
you because they're dying
you're
of
a
hunger.
thief, man. Now, if somebody took their
Okay, so
stuff,
what about the guy who's dying of hunger?
why is he dying of hunger?
He
Is he
hasn't
dying of hunger
commitment
because
of-
somebody
he can't
took
feed
his
his family.
stuff? Or is he dying of hunger because that's his MO, to steal from people, and now he ate up what he had and he's trying to go steal from something else? That's not self-preservation. That's a
No.
lazy, dirty
It's
thieving.
like I take out a cow so I can eat, my family can eat. What is that? You just committed murder, right? You did an evil act to
We're not talking about the cow. We're talking
That's
about
hunting.
people coming and taking other people's
You're the
stuff.
cow. You're
No,
the
we're
cow
not
is what I'm
talking.
saying.
You keep changing the goalposts. Holy shit! You didn't
I'm
even
giving
answer
you a
Mr.
metaphor to
X's
say you're the
question.
cow and
Is
they can come
stealing
in
gold?
anytime.
What would you say, Mr. X, about stealing gold?
Did the conquistadors steal gold from the territories that they were invading and killing all the natives for self-preservation?
Yeah, is that self-preservation? You stealing their gold and is that self-preservation? Is it yes or no?
It's self-preservation and
Oh,
expansion in their mind.
shit.
Yes.
There's no way.
Expanding your empire
No,
is part of
it
self-preservation.
reminds me of the saying, man. You bend the knee long enough, and
Either your
pathetic
empire
cowards will
falls
start.
or you keep it
If
going,
you
We love
man.
you,
bend,
Scribe.
if
We
you
love you.
bend the knee long enough, pathetic cowards will start calling your slavery a virtue. So you're over here telling me, I'm kind of perplexed at this point. Like, there's just no way to explain it to you unless Mr. X has got a way.
Yeah,
I
like I
can't
say,
even believe I'm hearing this stuff. I'm like,
It's like us going to war with Iraq and them seeing us as evil, and then if you flip it,
so we're going to
we're
Iraq.
seeing we're seeing them as evil, and then
Wait,
they see us as
are
evil.
we going
You
to
know,
Iraq for self-preservation?
no, not at all. I'm saying
Okay, so then
the
it's not
paradox here
everything
is
self-preservation.
the paradox is here. If you're seeing it through the eyes of the American, they're the bad people. If you're seeing it through the eyes of them, we're the bad people. So you're evil either way. You had to kill an animal to eat. You're evil either way. You had to take
How
an
are you
animal
evil
out,
for
whatever.
killing an animal to eat? How are you evil for that?
I'm saying the animal thinks you're evil because you're trying to kill it.
no, the animal doesn't think anything. The animal just eats his grass and
No,
and and
Because
I don't.
animals aren't that dumb. They know
Yeah, the animal ain't
look at a
dumb.
dog. Dogs are very
yeah, but
smart. You
I know,
know,
but we're speculating now that
No, the animal definitely ain't done. We can see
it's
this.
gonna see you as a predator, okay?
Yeah,
Regardless.
if an animal was dumb, it wouldn't run from predators. The animal knows. Like
Exactly.
when Howard Lyman, the owner of a cattle ranch, and he's the guy that Oprah had on, and he said cows would run up to him, calves. I mean, it's like pigs are smarter than dogs. The guy who was supposed to inherit the Baskin Robbins fortune, and he gave it up, and he wrote a diet for a new America. Something Robbins. He was related to the Robbins part, and he said that he goes, there was a dog he had that whenever he was swimming in the pond would always come and be on him, and he almost drowned. He goes, the pig would see that, and when the dog would come in, the pig would go and block the dog and help him so he can actually bathe in the pond without the dog being on him trying to drown him. So the pig was smart enough to know, look, man, what the heck is wrong with this dog? Dogs are really messed up when you look at them. Dogs are like, in most senses, horrible. Now, service dogs and all of that, okay, they're good. Saint Bernard saving people. But when the majority of dog breeds are a burden on just any life on the planet Earth. I mean, they're like, you see some humans behaving like dogs. It's like, God dang, we got to put this thing down. Monsters. Monster. You look at some
the training. If you see a trained dog like by the cops and stuff, you'd be like, damn,
a trained dog
didn't believe dogs could even do that.
A trained dog is different if it's for a purpose. When you look at them breeding,
and there's a video of like 4 dogs protecting like a baby or something.
Well,
like some video where some guy was going.
Well, that's in a sense the dog is trained. But when you look at that, if that dog gets hungry, they're going to eat that kid. Now, yeah, they can defend it when they're well.
I wouldn't. I mean,
it's a fact. It is a scientific fact that when owners die and the pet is locked in with them, it starts to feed on the owner. Dogs take a little longer than cats. Cats will start eating your face within hours. Now, this is fact. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, oh, well, maybe and all this. No, this is a fact. Dogs who might wait a day. You know, but these are animals. When you look at them and people get this oh no, that's my.
Hey, that was an analogy, a metaphor. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously. And you're going to the dogs. I'm saying here.
I mean, it's like
Red Blur is saying he agrees.
You know
reality.
I mean?
He's saying reality is reality, and reality right now is dog eat dog. However you want to put it.
And that might not be right. What? So he
really?
Could be
so
wrong.
What do you mean that? We're cutting in the rainforest.
It's not it's a dog. So everybody's dog eat dog. If everybody was dog eat dog, you'd be screwing somebody over right now.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's already happened.
No, I'm not.
Slavery, all that stuff's already happened. That's why you have to pay taxes. That's why you're stuck.
Look, if it was but what I'm saying, if it was dog eat dog, you wouldn't be paying taxes then. You'd be like, yo, it's dog eat dog. They're trying to eat.
We're not talking about right now as in it's already happened. We're saying let's put you in a different country where there's no police, there's no government. There's no government, and you're just finding a piece of land.
In reality,
eventually, someone's going to show up, whether it's lions or tigers or humans, and
that's
take you out.
That's a pessimistic view. That's an extremely.
No, that's a realistic view.
That's not realistic. That's not
really. So if you're in a country that there's no protection, anything can happen.
You know what dog eat dog comes from? Evolution being soaked into our minds to where we don't even recognize when we're repeating it. That's what dog eat dog is. Oh, it's the natural survival of the fittest. That's evolution. Can you not recognize the evolutionary propaganda in different words? Dog eat dog is survival of the fittest. Evolution is a lie. And these bastards got people thinking, remember, they changed the words. Oh, that's convergent evolution, coevolution, convergent, divergent, all this
what did the
horizontal
Joker
gene
say?
transfer. You're trying to
What did
tell
the
me
Joker
dog
say?
eat dog. Can you see over what it's called?
Okay, let me answer that. Well, what did the Joker say to the Batman about that? He's like, you know, yeah, right now when everyone's cool, everything seems cool, but the second the chips are down, what
And you know
happens?
why?
They eat each other, right?
Because they're
That's our natural
the
dog eat dog state.
uncivilized will do that. The uncivilized
Because
will
you're
do
not you're trying to survive,
that.
man.
No, the
It's like
uncivilized.
someone you're trying to save your friend who's drowning. He's gonna pull you down because his instinct is to survive,
No,
not you.
and that's a person that doesn't know. The person that knows, right? That
He's
understands.
panicked. I'm saying a panicked
Okay, I
person is not
can't
gonna think.
panic. So because this guy's trying to pull me out the water. If the person now, some people are going to be so like scared. Yeah, they're going to pull you down, and you can't. You got to what? You can't save that. You're going to be like, man, I can't. What? I'm going to have to let this person drown. And it's not really letting them drown. They're the ones that it's like, look, I can help you, but you want both of us to go down. Nah, man, you're gonna go down alone. It's kind of like that old joke where the guy
But
gets
he ain't gonna
bit.
let go. You can
No,
tell him that he ain't letting go.
then you got to know, why are you even trying to save him? It's like I said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now I can understand if
It's
that's
not his intention. He's like
no,
freaking
it's
out.
your
It's like he's not
intention
thinking.
saving him. God damn it! How could you be so? I can't even believe you don't see this. Holy
See, I don't
I'm
think
saying when
it's our
someone's freaking
we're
out, they're not
different from
thinking properly.
animals. Animals, they have instincts created by a designer. The natural, like the beaver knows how to make a dam. He was just given that information by the designer. But we're different. We have a conscience. We can make moral decisions, unlike animals. We're a
I think
different
animals can make
breed.
moral decisions, and I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming
Of course
from,
they
Mr.
can make
Rex.
moral decisions. Mr. X, what makes you think the animal cannot make a moral? Have you never seen a cat
I
like defend, its kittens or a
I have.
person
I've
or
seen a cat
I
defend a
think
human.
that's more instinctual than anything else. That's
No,
more
then why
instinctual.
doesn't the cat, if that's instinctual, why doesn't the cat just defend any human? See, that scientifically proves that it's not instinctual. The
What do
cat
you
that's
mean?
been fed and taken care of, and this is on film, this is documented,
Hmm.
protected the infant when a dog actually grabbed him by the leg and the cat was on him. The cat saved that kid's life because of what they did. They made a bond with that cat. An ordinary cat walking by probably wouldn't have jumped in. So it's showing us that these things are real, that animals, you see animals going up to people on film for hugs. I mean, it's amazing when you look at this stuff. But evolution, again, like how Scribe is not seeing it in Dog Eat Dog, is natural selection, evolution propaganda. I think
Hmm.
you're
no,
interpreting.
I never, I don't. I mean, survival
Well,
of the fittest
hold on a second. Mr. Rex is not
is
seeing it as well by saying animals aren't sentient, because that is one, a religious bias, but I would
okay,
think
that's
it's
two different
more,
things. That's two different
I think
things.
it's more
Which
of an
one do you want to ask
evolutionary
first?
I
bias.
just think we're a separate group from animals. That's all I'm
And,
saying. I'm
and if
not,
that's your
you know,
belief, it's cool,
yeah.
but the science doesn't add up with that. That's all I'm saying.
Hmm.
I understand that's what you think, what you believe, and we're all allowed to do that. But when we look at it scientifically, we not only see animals helping humans, we see animals helping each other. We see a morality with a leopard not eating a baboon baby, stuff like that. And we're like, holy smokes. So animals are teaching us, like the natives said, they said animals one day will talk and say, let you know what you're doing wrong. The fact that
That's how they learned what to eat. They saw what animals ate, and they knew what was poisonous or what was
no,
not.
I don't think that's true either, because animals can eat things that will poison us. So not everything,
Well,
if you
certain
look
animals that they
at,
know. I mean, they know which
then
animals
go eat
are.
roadkill raw. Animals eat
No, that's different.
roadkill
That's a
raw.
vulture. That's a
No,
vulture.
no, you
No,
got dogs,
animals that
you
are.
got cats that will eat roadkill, you got raccoons that would eat roadkill. You making stuff up now. I'm looking at science. Am I the only one that's adhering to
Okay, so
science?
would you
Okay.
test that on your own volition, or would you at least let an animal eat first to make sure,
I've seen
or you
dogs
might
eat
mess up?
crap, their own crap all the time. It's just,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's people that do it too, so I'm just
Yeah.
We put them in a nut house.
I mean, and I understand where red blur and all.
okay. So let me ask you real
It's not
quick.
science, though. This is not science.
Would you? Okay, so you don't know the fruit. You see
No,
a
and
fruit
I
upon
understand
you.
where he's
You're
coming
looking
from.
at it.
And he agrees
You're
with
looking
you.
at the fruit. Would you rather decide to eat it on your own
Hey,
judgment, or would
subscribe.
you
Did
rather
he
wait
check
for an
the thing?
animal?
Red Blur
Go ahead.
said he donated to the stream. But thank you, Red Blur, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Check.
Good job.
Yeah, man. And it's a great conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have different stances on this. I'm just saying I'm adhering to the science. I see evidence of not only domesticated animals, but also wild animals exhibiting morality and intelligence. They have mountain lions, right, that are so smart, they're so successful in their kills that they are leaving like 5 out of 7 kills for wolves and bears, so they leave them alone. And people have observed this. They're like, holy smokes. These mountain lions are such a proficient predator that they're actually leaving these kills to kind of keep the bears and the wolves in certain areas so it can eat in peace. I mean, that's a high level of intelligence. When you got crows that fly around and protect people and care for them that have fed for them. This lady, her daughter kept feeding the crows, and she's a photographer. She forgot her lens cap in the forest. By the time she got home, a crow had picked it up and flew it back to her house where they usually leave stuff. And she was like, oh my goodness. These crows understand and they know I'm a good person and they help them. And this is documented now, especially now that they're cracking crow language and animal language with AI. It's on another level. Animals, honestly, and I could be wrong, but animals are more sentient than me, man.
Remember the movie The Crow? That's where he got his power from.
Yeah, from the I mean, it's a movie, but
I
yeah.
know, no, I know there's intelligent animals like the African gray has the mind of a 3-year-old, they say, you know.
No. A crow is beyond a 7-year-old, they're saying. And that, again, is evolutionary people telling me this. So a crow, honestly, most people don't have mentality beyond a 7-year-old. Most 40-year-olds, right? We
No,
know
I
that.
saw a crow one time talking. I remember we went to this Indian place for alligator wrestling or something like that. And they had a crow. We were passing by. A crow was just freaking talking.
Mhm.
I was like, what the hell? You
Yeah.
know, the way
I
he was
mean,
talking.
crows, parrots, dogs will mimic words, cats will mimic words. You see geese when they're taught feeding fish bread. You see some cats using bread to catch fish, and then you see some animals actually feeding other animals. And I'm like, this is really teaching me a lot. You got humans that won't feed each other, but you got animals that are from different species feeding each other. So it tells me a lot about humans. It tells me that animals seem to be more empathic and compassionate sometimes.
That's actually one of the biggest things with Bigfoots is a gifting, where you leave an apple or something, they'll leave you something, and there's a lot of evidence of that, where people even have backyards where they find out this thing comes close to the house or whatever, and they'll leave out food, whatever, and then it'll bring a gift, to say thank you and all that. Yeah. So, but they want some dumb chimp or something, or some guy in a suit running around, and that's all it is. It's just.
Well, they understand.
But we got Red Blur here, 650 donation. Appreciate it, brother. He says, "Great stream, fellas, and congratulations, Varun, on his success, his recent success." So yeah.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it, Red Blur. Yeah, man. It's this is where it's good that we can have these conversations to say, okay, let's
Yeah,
see.
we're not an echo chamber. We're gonna.
Yeah, it's not an echo chamber. Definitely not. I mean, you look at other places, and they're just like they're so afraid to have different, conversations to say, okay, let's see where it's at. And if it's their belief, well, hey, great, that's their belief. I understand that I can't bring in the science. Maybe they can use the little bit of evidence and add to it where it becomes an opinion now. So it's a little more than a belief, but it's less than positive knowledge. But then again, now we go into the acceptance of what we see. And sometimes
But you see, that's what you see. The fact you had to watch a video to understand this now,
I've
later
seen
as
it
an
in real
adult.
life.
That crows. Okay, at what age did you know this?
I've
That's what I'm
seen
saying.
animals.
It takes time to even know this. Like, I didn't even
Well,
know
this
that
is
even
the thing.
possible.
Other children saw it when they were children. I saw it as adolescent, more teenager, getting older, because I feel that animals, and I've had pets before, but I feel that they shouldn't be indoors. Like, let them live in the wild. I can feed a cat or something outside. Great. Inside, you want your inside just to be clean, because cats and dogs and animals carry parasites. Now, some animals might be a little cleaner than others, but still, to me, it's a form of, okay, one, like even fish. It's like, oh, the aquatic prison. It's like,
Would you own an electric eel, for
no,
example?
nothing, no type of animal.
I love fish. I
Why
love
am I
fish.
imprisoning an electric eel? Right? It just
To
doesn't
study
make
it,
sense.
for science.
Well, again, maybe I can, if I can't study it in the wild, which I understand, they're going to bring it into the lab. That's a prison. A zoo is a prison where every prisoner is innocent,
Do you know
man.
how many volts that thing produces?
Yeah, I mean, we could use it to produce electricity, but usually when something's in captivity, would you want somebody doing that to us, like the Matrix, using us for electricity? Once again, the law of knowing what's right is, would you want it done to you? Well, that ain't right.
Well, I'm saying, how is that impossible? This thing can generate, it says here, between 600 and 860 volts.
It could
This
kill a
thing can
horse.
generate. Kill a
Yeah.
mute, yeah.
What
How
evolutionary
how is
process
that even
produced that?
possible?
You know?
Yeah, and Red Blur is right. He says, facts, MD, let animals be free in the wild, not indoor for entertainment of zombies. Absolutely, bro. When you look at these zoos, remember, they kept people in zoos. I think the cage is still there in the Bronx Zoo, where they kept Oda Benga.
Wow.
They put this guy in there,
Freak
and
show.
they had him hold a baby chimpanzee, saying,
Yep.
you see, this is the evil of these monsters that have us.
That's the freak show. That's the freak show.
No, that's not the freak show. That was them pushing evolution, the
Yep.
dog eat dog world, it's just, these people aren't as intelligent. That's what it leads to. Animals, not
Yes.
the,
Did they look similar? The question is, did they look similar?
no, it was a
What?
chimp. And come on, I told you before, Scribe, if I put 3 liquids that are clear, one's water, one's vodka, one's formaldehyde, they look exactly the same and they are extremely different. So even
So they
though,
look the same. All right, that's all I want
no,
to
no,
know.
they
That's
didn't
all.
look, and in this case, they didn't look the same, because the chimp has a white face and the black man holding it had a black face. So they different. If anything, they should have had a guy with a pinker face hold it. But no,
Yeah.
they want to make black people or anything that's tan or brown or ain't lily white look like an animal. Meanwhile, the ones that are doing this are the animal. Not to say
Exactly.
Okay, well,
all.
what if we have components of a chimp and other stuff
We
that they
have
want to know?
genetics. All right.
What if
But
there's
but you can't see the
partial?
wrong in putting a human being in a cage as an animal. You can't just see the difference. There's a big difference. There's a big
No,
difference.
the only difference I see, I don't look at the physical, Mr. X. I look at the conscious. Where did this consciousness come from?
If
Going
you
from
don't look
ape
at the
to
physical,
this.
then why did you ask if they look the same? That's looking at the physical.
No, I'm saying it wasn't enough to fool people. Did it look the same? Was it enough for people to be like, okay,
Oh,
I
but you say
see
you don't
now?
look at the physical, so
A
shouldn't
lot
matter.
of people
No,
who saw
I'm
that.
asking you the objective from the audience. This is not my
You
question
got to
directly
Can I
computer.
to
tell?
Look up
how
Oda
the
I
Benga.
my
Look up.
question is,
No, you
where
ain't
did the
gonna learn
consciousness
until you
come
look
from?
it up. You ain't gonna learn until nothing I can say is. You need to look up
I'm
Oda
saying none of
Benga.
that really matters to me.
Look up
I
Oda
read the
Benga
article.
holding a goddamn chimp, man. I can't do the work. I can't eat the freaking food for you, man. You're up my ass right now. Oh, do it for me, man. Look up the goddamn picture and you tell me.
Oh, well, I guess I hit a nerve.
Holy shit. It's
Oh
like
I'm
we
my
not
don't
worried
have a
about the
computer
again.
net. Oda
I'm not worried
Benga
about the
holding a
physical.
freaking chimp, man.
I'm
Oh,
not
what do
looking
they
at the
look like? Do
physical.
they
I'm
I
look
saying,
the
read the
where did
same?
this
article about
consciousness
that, and a
come from?
lot
You're
of
caught
people
up in
had
this
a big
physical
I
thing.
don't
problem
want to
with it.
hear it until you look up the goddamn picture, man.
I don't have to look up because that doesn't
Holy
concern me.
shit.
I'm
Then you
saying
know
where
what?
the
Oda
Then
Benga
don't
looked like a
ask me the
human being.
freaking question then.
He looked like
This
a
is
human
the
being.
freaking
That's what he looked
pinnacle
like.
of ignorance. You got
I
a
asked you where the
computer
consciousness
there,
come
you got a
from.
keyboard, and you can't even type the goddamn picture. What do you want me to shit for you too?
All right. I don't know what you're talking about, but
What is he? Oda Benga holding a chimp in the cage in the Bronx Zoo.
oh, it's that. That's what hit a nerve. I wasn't even talking about that, but you're going
Oh,
back to that.
yeah.
Oh,
Then what were we
and a
talking
lot
about?
of people who saw that exhibit, they reported in the newspaper, felt really bad. They felt guilty going there. They got a turning in their stomach from seeing that. So that was people back in the
Why does
1800s
that
that
get
would
you
have,
so angry? I mean, I don't understand.
No,
because
that
it's a
didn't
human
get me so
being.
angry. You not being able to type the shit in 10 minutes ago. Oh, do it for me, man. You know what the that's what got me so freaking
I never
angry.
asked you to do
It's like
anything. I asked you,
nagging me.
okay,
Oh, you can play this shit
dude,
back.
you brought it up. I'm asking you a question.
And then I'm saying, hey, they did not
You
look
get
the
all
same.
emotional and shit. I
And
mean, what
then
the
you're
fuck?
like, yo, but what about? And I'm like, okay, just type it in and look it up. And you ain't even want to do that.
No,
And
well,
I'm
then
like,
I switched and said, okay, what about consciousness? Because Mr. X said something. I'm like, I don't care about
why do
that. I
you
care about
switch?
where
Why
the consciousness
switch?
comes
We're
from.
on one thing. Don't project away. Let's finish one thing at a time. And then you say, oh, like
Because
Mr.
that doesn't
Right
lead
said,
anywhere. That
how
doesn't
is
lead
putting
anywhere.
somebody in a cage? I mean, look at what, you know, it goes beyond. I
Why they
don't,
put lions in cages? It's the same. It's the same
It's not
tragedy
the
either
same thing
way.
as a
I
human
don't even
being in
know.
a cage. It's not the same thing. And you know that. You know that.
Well, I'm saying they're treating humans that way, so that means there's something else that thinks it's higher than humans. And Jim Carrey said, we're not important when they try to
You got
interview him,
certain
and so he
humans
realized.
think they higher than other humans.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
And that's why they're putting this in the cage. They
Oh
got
no, we know they're planning stuff hundreds of years in advance. I don't think it's a human.
yeah, so humans didn't put that guy in the cage, right?
For self-preservation, I think.
It came from the top, right? It's a
Mr.
job. Like, sorry, brother, it's working.
Yo,
It's
Mr.
a
X.
job.
Just they put him in the cage for self-preservation.
Yeah.
That
And
shit
that's
is
the
like,
argument where,
oh my
humans are
goodness,
trying to
that's
Where did
self-preserve.
that come from? What are you
from
From
talking about?
you. From
concepts.
you.
Holy
You
smoke.
want something? I don't know what you want,
No,
brother.
we're having a field day here. Mr. X and Mr. X and I don't agree on the animal thing, but this is some funny stuff with you, bro. This is hilarious because I'm like, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, yo, am I nuts or is he nuts? I'm like, what the heck is going? I'm like, holy, as Varun, I don't even know what to say, man. I
What
mean,
MD?
You're emotional right now. I don't know what you're.
I'm not-
What hit it was that you're saying the guy was in the cage with the chimp, and they're trying to
they
say, "Oh, look,
told
you see
him they put
the
this guy.
similarity."
Yeah, first of all, why are they putting him in the cage? Because they're trying to
We've
say
seen
that.
many recently. You saw the video saying with Obama and what Trump did
Oh,
with
with
AI.
Trump, yeah,
I mean,
that's
yeah.
messed up.
So
Yeah.
that's recent. There
Mhm.
has never been. When have we ever stopped doing that? They're doing it to continue
All right,
that
all right. Now
stupidity.
let's trace it. Why would
That
somebody? Why would somebody like? Where did that idea come from?
that's
Trying to.
fabricated. That's
Yeah,
fabricated.
it's fabricated. Exactly.
Yeah.
So try.
Well,
Like
it's
I
coming
said,
from what you're saying earlier. They're showing a chimp with this
No, no, no,
dude,
no. Look
and
at
he's
the
showing
Pope,
Obama with a chimp.
the death of the Pope. Trump and Obama are laughing it up. Believe me, it's all just a show.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
show. They're
yep.
best buddies. Trust me on this one.
No, but the fact that he said that he did it and they put him in a chimp suit, he's like, "Oh,
It's
you
so
see,
to get people riled up and hating
Yeah.
Trump. Remember, it's division, divide and conquer.
Anything those guys say is meant to keep us distracted.
Yes.
So basically, once we realize that, it's like, hey, Trump said what? It's like, well, why do we need to know that? We're trying to find out human origins, why people treat people this way, animals, all this stuff. Politics is just, it's a fact that people that watch the news actually get a higher rate of like mental problems. They say they get anxiety and stuff like that. Not watching the news actually calms you more.
I agree.
It just, yeah, and we see this, right? We agree, but we also see it scientifically. So now we know that, it's kind of like Plato says, drag a slave into the sunlight and he'll curse you for blinding him. The herd violently defends its own chains. And this This is what it is. The truth is like it's like strychnine, right? The weak need a daily IV drip of delusions just to endure existence. And I understand that. This is why people are getting high and drinking. Reality is cool, but they make existence so tough that people gotta kind of sedate themselves, basically, or they'll go nuts. Look at patriotism. Diogenes. Diogenes is probably one of the most gangster real philosophers. If you read his stuff, he says patriotism, right? He said patriotism is a biological waste. Being proud of your nation is like a maggot being proud of the rotting meat it was born in. I'm like, this dude was dropping it 2,000 years ago.
He was.
I'm like, he killing it. Oh, you proud of being Greek? That's like a maggot being proud of the rotten meat it was born in. I'm like, dag, this dude is just on another level. He said you sell your heartbeat for pennies, you know, and he's saying this stuff 2,000 some odd years ago. I'm like, it's deep. It's deep, man.
It shouldn't be about money anyway, because that's not true wealth.
Well,
right?
he's just
It's like the economic
saying,
hitman does. Remember what the economic hitman, what he said? John was it John
John
Perkins?
Perkins.
He says we go to other countries, offer them a large,
I got the
loan,
book,
$1 billion, right?
Economic Hitman.
Right, because we know that country cannot pay us back. They're gonna jump for joy to accept it because they're literally, not even surviving. But we know we need that land, so we're gonna do this. This is the type of manipulation we're talking about. So to even understand what's going on, it keeps going back to that kid that grew up in the institution, never got to go outside, never got to see the sun. He has no clue there's a sun, has no clue there's trees, has no clue there's animals and all these things. He thinks the world is what he's in, inside that institution. That's what he thinks.
Okay, and what do we learn? What do we learn from Plato's allegory of the cave about that kid? Plato's allegory of the cave tells us you cannot help him, and if you do, he'll destroy you. Because if you're chained to the wall,
that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say we're trying to decipher this thing.
okay,
but we don't have the tools to really decipher it. We can only speculate on a very limited level, and we're trying to push it out as far as possible.
Why don't we have then what is science? Science is not a tool we can use to the scientific method. So you're saying we can't use that to try to decipher?
Their science version is very archaic and very based on repeatable.
The scientific method, we can find
based
truth
on physicality
and false with scientific method.
It only works in the physical, is what I'm saying. It's very limited. It doesn't. Second it goes spiritual, now that's.
Well, the scientific method shows us that the supernatural exists. Logic and reason, right? Logic. So let's just say logic. You have the natural world, and then you have the supernatural world. So that's like saying, okay, you got day and night. You have something more and you have something less.
I'm saying it's all supernatural.
How could it all be supernatural? This is like
what defines something as natural?
Well, honestly, you're right.
They're going to say made by God.
Everything, not even made by God, made by architects of humanity. And then, like how Mr. X is saying.
That's the same answer.
No, it's not the same answer. Mr. X was saying, oh, it got to happen all at once. And I said, well, wait a minute. The physical could be laid out in a lab, grown in a tank, and in stages. But he's right in the way of the consciousness now could happen all at once. But then when we look at it and we say, okay, did we become conscious all at once? Like maybe it was put into us all at once, but there was something from when we were 8 and 10 and 12 and 16 and 20 that we can see the stages of, oh yeah, I learned more, and what I previously thought to be true or didn't know about or didn't care about knowing, now I know. And now when I'm 30, I know more than when I was 20. If you don't, then that's not really too good. If you're the same guy at 30 that you were at 20, that's stagnation. That's like saying, well, what, why? It's like,
Well,
what is,
the technology has allowed what you're saying to where
well,
people
no,
are
even
literally in
without
pods all
technology.
day
If,
and they
if,
don't go outside.
if
They don't have experience.
if it's the year 1500 and you're on a farm and you're 10 years old, you're going to understand how things work on that farm a lot more in 10 years, saying, oh, yeah.
Because there's no iPhone, there's no
No,
TV. You
it's
have
you
to.
learn even more with the iPhone. If you're on a farm today, if I go to work on a farm today and I say, okay, I can help you do certain things, like maybe harvest vegetables or something, I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to learn more at it and say, okay, look, it's easier to do these vegetables first and then do the other ones afterwards. Because why? Because I tried it the other way. And I realized that this is a better way of doing it, more efficient, more
I'm
productive.
not saying it that way. I'm saying the person that would have been a farmer is now on the fucking, on the phone and the computer and all that. So it's taken away from the people that would have
Well,
been those things.
we all
Technology
are
has made
supposed
things
to be farmers.
easier.
We all. You
Yeah.
might need a doctor a few times in your life, and other things, but you need a farmer 3 times a day. And that disassociation with us not growing
But
food.
there are people that are designed for that. I'm not
Well,
designed to be a farmer. My
well,
dad was. My dad
I'm
was a
not
farmer.
sure. I'm not sure if they're designed for. I think we're all designed for.
Yes, they're designed. Amish, the
Well, I'm not
Quakers, all
all.
that. I mean,
I don't even know.
I think we all have different
they're
passions.
literally
I think
physically designed for it and
But
mentally
if
designed
that's
for
you
what
it.
can't,
separates us from the animal kingdom. We have passions. We're all
if you
different,
don't
and
grow
you know.
food, right, that's the beginning of your slavery. Growing food is so important, and we're all enslaved. I haven't grown food for years. I grew some tomatoes one year and all of that, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. You can't, then you got to, okay, where am I going to get salt from? And this is where the trade and barter comes in. They got farms where they're like, look, you give us 200 and something bucks. And then when the food starts coming in, we give you like a basket every week for like, 3 months or something for giving us the money ahead of time. And it just, this is important. I thought about that today. I said, man, if the supermarkets run out of food, right, we're going to be eating each other. We're going to be zombie land.
Yep.
And I understand when you're starving. Yeah, look at that the documentary movie Alive, when the plane crashed on the mountains of the Andes by Uruguay, and they started eating some of the passengers that were frozen in the thing to survive. And I think 12 people or something might have survived, but they did eat some human.
That's what I've been trying to tell you, and you got this weird opposition.
No,
I
not
don't know. I mean,
some people might just say, you know what? I'm just going to keep walking. I'm not going back to the plane. So I'm going to walk. And how you guys turned around and went back and ate some arms and legs and stuff, I'm just going to keep walking. And either I'm going to die, I'm going to make it to civilization, or some wolves.
then you're going to end up robbing somebody and doing the
No,
same
I'm not.
thing.
No,
So
if the wolves,
don't pretend you're not going to be a good person.
Well, you can go a whole month on
Yeah,
just
when
water.
it gets bad enough, you're going to be robbing, doing whatever it takes, bro.
I don't know. See, that's to say, all right, how about if I'm just going?
What if I drop your ass in a jungle and then let's see what happens?
Or how about if I'm just begging?
Are gonna
How
kick
about if
in.
I'm there just saying, look, I'm not going to rob, but I'm begging. A lot of people do that. What then? All right, to show that what you're saying is scientifically not adding up, why are people begging and not robbing? So it's showing you that they're pushed to that limit. One guy robs, the
Because
other
they're
guy
lazy. They're lazy.
And do poor people?
Also, the lazy guy begs and the unlazy guy robs. What for? I don't understand.
Or he gets clean.
Wow.
Scribe, do all poor people steal?
At some point, you're going to have to do something,
All
or
poor
you're not
people,
going
you
to
could
survive.
say for certain they steal. Like, people in other
You
countries.
see, again, you're
America.
asking me a loaded question because you could say there's some people in the countryside, you can call them
The
poor,
answer
but
is
they're
no.
living the best
The
life.
answer is
And
no.
then you
It's a
have
yes
people
or
in the
no
city
answer.
who are stabbing and robbing people.
You-
You see, that's a loaded question. You can't ask that kind of question because there's many
Do rich
variants
people
of that
steal?
question,
Do
Mr.
rich
X.
people
You have to
steal?
ask me a specific question. Say, okay, people in the city, a big city like New York, these people that are poor, why? Ask it that way. Because if you say the other way, I'm going to say, well, there's people over here in this other country living just
Okay, do
fine.
all the
They're
poor
happy as
people in New
hell,
York
and they don't
do
have
all
money
the
like
poor
that.
people in New York City steal?
No, I mean, at some point, I guess they would have to do something if it gets really bad. I mean, that's again a loaded question,
When it
and
gets really
that's
bad,
great.
right? What do we see them doing? Some are stealing and some are just begging. They're not stealing. They're saying, look, I'm not going to steal,
Well,
but I
if
will.
begging don't work, what you gonna do?
They sit out there. All right, look at the guy in Chicago. He was begging. It was cold weather a few years ago, and he froze to death on the sidewalk. He did not steal. He did not break into anywhere to get heat. He froze to death on the
Yeah, he was
sidewalk.
a stand-up man, and he paid the
So then,
consequence. How
what does
many
that tell
people
us?
do that?
What does
How
that
many
tell us
people do that?
scientifically? Scientifically, that
No,
tells us
that's
not
one off.
everybody,
You're talking about
not
a very
everybody's going
rare
to turn into a
situation. Oh,
crook.
because this one rare situation happened, that must mean everything is
But,
like that.
that's
No.
evidence, though, telling us that not everybody is a crook. Some
But the
people.
majority are. That's the
Oh,
difference.
okay, if you
The
say the
Wow.
majority
majority,
are.
if you say the majority, okay, but when you say everybody, that's not scientifically true. And
You
even
can
the
Even
never
the
say
majority,
majority,
everybody.
I'd argue,
Yeah,
isn't
that's why I
true
never
either.
said everybody.
even the majority, we can kind of like that.
Scribe, do
Yeah.
rich people steal? Do rich people steal?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so
So
Probably
why?
more
If
than
they're not pushed to the limit, why are they stealing?
well, their tactics they use is basically it's outmanning the other person if it's illegal. So they're always trying to chase a
Oh,
legal
oh,
line.
let's
so do
say
And
rich
they're going to
people
use any
commit illegal
tactic. They're
activities?
going to use any tactic at the time that's not legal right now, but it will be illegal soon because they did that and they
all
find
You
right.
out
ever
it's
heard of
working.
Bernie
So rich
Madoff?
people
You ever heard of
don't.
Bernie Madoff?
Yeah, he made off. Yeah.
Yeah, he made off with a lot of money. He was already rich. He made off with even more. He stole, ran a Ponzi scheme.
He
And
couldn't stop at 10 million. He had to go to a billion, right? It's like, well,
right,
why? Right?
because 10 million is
See,
poor in his social circle.
self-preservation. There you go.
Self.
So,
Oh.
wow, here we go. So if he's worth a billion, it's self-preservation if he
So
wants
you've
to be
never
worth
heard. You
10
guys have
billion.
never heard of legacy. You guys have never heard of
But
the
that's not
family.
self-preservation.
That's a family lineage self-preservation what the monarchies are based on. They're based on lineages. That's why they only have certain people and certain secret whatever based upon your bloodline. So that's what that whole thing's
Yeah.
about.
Red Blur says some rich people legally steal or extort. I would add in
Exactly. Thank you.
some rich people also do illegally things and steal. So you got some that
Right.
legally steal, extort through loopholes, and then you got some that are just blatant thieves. We see some rich people are blatant thieves. When you take $40 billion and give it to Argentina, that's theft of the American tax dollars, right? But it's legal, right? But then you see some people steal that's illegal, and it's right. Some, not
Look at
all.
Martha Stewart. Supposed to be like, an angel, right? Insider trade. She going OG style to jail.
Okay, so that's a rich person
Yeah.
that stole illegally. So now we got scientific evidence that a rich person stole illegally, and then we have scientific evidence that rich people steal legally. But what is legal? The law is just a bodyguard for the biggest thief. That's basically what the law is, because it's not right. It's saying, oh, some crooks wrote something in that only apply to us and doesn't apply to them, and they call it the law. How is that good? See,
But the law is not exactly all that powerful because there's always loopholes. Just like when they say, "Oh, this is unhackable." No, bro. Everything is hackable, no matter what.
look at the law.
Always someone.
Look at PDF files. It's legal for the president and all of that. Roseanne Barr lost her show for saying somebody looked like a character from the Planet of the Apes. But the president can tweet and show somebody and nothing happens. So there's a double standard, clearly. There's clearly a double standard.
Yeah, but he said he didn't know about it, so
He did, okay, so that makes it right. Okay, so right?
Well, actually, he said specifically. He said he didn't watch the whole thing.
Do
He
you
watched part
believe
of it,
him? So
and they added that, and they added that part later,
the
and
big
that's why he
question
didn't
is,
know.
it's like I don't believe anything that.
He knows how to lie so good. That's the thing, man. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. When I look at that, it's like I'm in a world with monsters, and a lot of people don't see these monsters for what they are, and that's all right. That's all right, but it does wear down on a person. that philosophy will get you to not see the monsters after a while. It's like I said, the guy's making fun of disabled people. And I was like, wow, Pete, that was the test. I said, he's doing the Hitler thing. Because Hitler did
This
what?
dude thinks he's God. It's like there was a comedian recently, a black guy actually, who did a perfect imitation of Trump. He's like, yeah,
I know who
you
you're
know,
talking about.
this guy over there, he was trying to shoot,
Yeah.
try to shoot me, and then when he shot,
Well,
I was looking at that, and I stopped the bullet, and then it's like this dude thinks he's like Moses or something. I mean, it's
well, he
hilarious.
keeps saying that he's chosen by God to make America whatever. Who else said they were chosen by God? Hitler and all these other nutcases. So we see
Bush, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Mark says that's also why 99% of the market, yeah, they are inbred. We do see that. Yeah, I mean, I think one guy said the funniest thing about Trump with the blackmail. He had a video. He said that Iran is saying that if Trump doesn't stop, they're going to release pictures of him being a PDF, right? And then he said, well, Israel is saying that if he does, he stops, they're going to release it. And then the guy goes, the only thing that Trump should do is he needs to release the videos. I was like, this dude is hilarious because it's like you gotta, if anybody were to go and meet up with a 12-year-old, you'd be like, no, this guy, what are you, nuts? Right? I'm thinking when they're showing pictures of these little 10-year-old blonde children sitting on this guy's lap, where are these kids' parents? Nobody asked that question. What is this guy doing and other people doing with these children there? Just that alone is guilt. That alone is guilt. Nobody has anything to say.
No, I'm just saying that this has gotten so comical and so ridiculous because we saw Trump before he, became president. He was in WCW doing the fake thing with the wrestling and doing the fake thing with the Apprentice. We already know this guy is just a complete, degenerate, basically.
Disgusting excuse for a
They
human.
magically becomes president. Interesting.
Well,
Someone with that kind of background,
well,
knowing that
he's put in position. What's worse than Trump? Trump's followers. What's
It's
worse
literally
than
like
Biden?
a cartoon character becoming president. The
Well,
clown,
what's worse
literally.
than Biden, Trump? Their followers. Any followers of Obama and Bush. Oh, that's the worst part. Remember, Hitler didn't kill all those people. It's a mental thing. And when you look at the behavior of the people that follow this, they're worse than the dictator.
Right. Exactly.
And
It's
this
no
is
more different than taking a job. You're taking a job. That's
wow.
all you're doing.
Wow. Well,
Are you willing to sell your soul? That's why in rock they said, "Did you sell out?" Like Tupac can be saying, you already know. So you sell out. That's
Oh
how
no,
you know.
don't go there, please, please.
Timbo says only 5% of the files been made public, and it's already horrific.
Look at that.
And
Yeah.
yeah. It
I
just,
mean, the real stuff they're never gonna let loose. They're never gonna let loose. The real horrors.
I mean, if anything, if 500,000 people were dying on something else, it would be an epidemic. See, they say when it's an epidemic or not. That's the sad part. 500,000, and that's just what's reported, and that's the kids. I think like about 100,000 people die a year from medical stuff. So like this is like prescribed medications prescribed in a proper manner that ended the person, and it's due to not one dose is the right thing for everybody. I was reading this book, The 100-Year Lie, and it was talking about how what somebody might need 10 milligrams of a certain drug, the other person might only need 1 milligram, but they're going to give everybody that standard 10 milligram dose and say, well, yeah, we'll give you the lowest dose, 10 milligrams. Well, not everybody needs 10 milligrams. Some need 2, some need 5, some need 1, some don't need it. So they give us this thing. We're the experiments. They're saying that aspirin, right? If it were to come out today, wouldn't pass the trials because I think it causes some type of birth defect in mice. But then again, there was an arthritis drug, right? Didn't cause any problem in animals, but causes heart problems in humans. 61 humans had to die before they recalled that, showing that animal
You,
is not a reliable way of knowing what's going to work in humans. People have been
well, here's
ending.
another thing, real quick before I forget. They're saying this is a, I forgot who said it, that this was a recruitment center, right?
Mhm.
Aside from the harvesting and all that stuff, a recruitment center to recruit certain people. That's why when they find out someone, because this happened myself personally when I did the OSS thing, that the government approached me. We'd never approached government at all. Never even. We just launched the thing,
Mhm.
started making sales, whatever, and all of a sudden the government approached us. So even something as small as that,
Mhm.
anything happening around the world, the government's going to be there. Just like when the guy did the hydrogen engine, the Pentagon was interested all of a sudden. Then they want to offer whatever billion, whatever, and he's like no. So it seems like it's a breeding center, but at the same time a recruitment center to see which, let's breed a bunch of things here and a bunch of things called humans, and let's see which ones are special, and we'll take those and we'll use a program, a cover story to say they were abducted or whatever. And the things you find out, a lot of the families were involved with it for generations. The grandmother, the grandfather, and the father, the mother were already involved in these experiments where they would send themselves and their kids. Like it's a life, it's a generational contract where they have to agree to send their kid as well because they have a certain genetical thing or whatever for this particular job or particular that this person's a very super high end medium or something or whatever specialty they have. They come in and the government's always like we want to recruit you for this job or whatever. So it almost seems like that's really what's going on. They're trying to find exceptional people, um, and leave the rest of them that are in the middle to meet to news stories. Oh, this guy's smart. This guy's a prodigy. This guy's whatever. But we never get to see the true, real superpower prodigies that they whisk away in their underground bases or whoever know wherever else they take them. But they're always looking to recruit people. And
Project
now I'm still
Stargate,
really noticing that. How's that?
CIA, Project Stargate. They recruited remote viewers. Project Stargate's been documented.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
Um,
always looking for. Yeah.
Gaia the Sage says latrogenesis, the causation of a disease, a harmful complication, or other ill effect by any medical activity, including diagnosis, intervention, error, or negligence. So, I guess that's what would be called when they misdiagnose people. So, including diagnosis. And negligence, exactly. Yeah, so it's called latrogenesis. I guess that's a funny, well, I guess that's maybe it's what the scientific word for somebody basically we have an epidemic of people being ended by prescribed medicine that isn't even a misdiagnosis. It's just showing that one size does not fit all. I remember talking with a doctor, and he said that he fears giving people a certain medicine that could end up ending them because it happens so common. It seems what like a couple of thousand people a month in America. You're looking at about it used to be close to I think 150,000 people a year. So you're looking at easily over 10,000 people a month. So in other words, you could get something prescribed in the proper amount, in the so-called proper amount, and it could be deadly because they don't care. They're like, look, just you just an experiment. The whole system with, I mean, it's I don't even know how to put it, man. It's frightening. It's frightening to think of.
Here's the power you have. You do have. You have what's called a sigil, a signature. Your own signature is your own unique like your fingerprint. Everyone has different signature, and that signature is what you do to complete contracts or to cash a check or whatever. Everything requires a signature, your sigil, your energy, your your you know your energy is put in there by the movement you do with the signage, and that signature can bring about endless contracts, endless money, endless whatever you want. If you understand the power of your signature and what you're agreeing to, as long as you're not agreeing to a contract that's detrimental, then you're good. But
You
I
know
don't think people
how,
understand the importance of the signature. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even sure. Like the signature is not us. You know, this we're something that we don't even know what we
It
are.
is you. It's your essence when you write it. That's your essence.
I-
Just like when they go deeper into the blood, we have to use your blood to sign something, whatever your fingerprint blood. That's part of your essence. So you sign that. There's the
the
proof that
blood
you
I
signed
can
it
see, but I
because
don't
you
know
wrote
about,
it.
yeah, the signing. I mean, there. It just, yeah.
It means that you it's a soul contract. You agreed to that. I put my signature. I'm bound to that. That's why they can bring you to court. That's why now they can take your house. They can do all these things because you signed something, evidence, proof that you signed that contract, and it states this, and they found out you breached a contract.
Well,
Now you're
this is
liable
this
for
is
this.
my thought about that is they don't have to listen to that. We've clearly seen them violating their own laws. So they violate their own laws. Why wouldn't they? What is this magic paper going to stop them? The
No, there is. Oh,
physicality of them.
the first thing a lawyer is going to ask you is like, what district it is in, what county, to see if I know the judge. If I know the judge, then I can probably get you out. What does that mean?
So
That means
that means
judges take bribes all the time if the lawyer knows the judge. That's all.
it
That's all it
shows us
matters.
that there's no justice.
Exactly.
If it based
Because
on money, right? It's not a justice. It's it's a really messed up. It's a monstrous system, man.
but here's the flip side: is they took an oath. The judge took an oath to become a judge, and in that oath it says he has to uphold the law of how
Okay,
it's written
so like the
in the
two
current state.
judges that just got sentenced for 20 years each about because they were sending kids to jail. I think that was from Philadelphia or Jersey, and I had talked about it on the show. You talking about judges like that taking an oath? That don't mean anything. You got
No,
cops.
no, the way
The
it happened is
president
like in the
takes an
mid two
oath,
thousands.
and then
No,
he'd lie.
basically what happened was in the mid 2000s there was a truth movement thing after 9/11 and all that stuff, and there was something happened in the UK courts, and there was one guy who's very experienced and he knew how the language of the court and what mattered and how he could get this particular judge they're going after. There's a bunch of people in this court, and he got the judge to say what was it to the oath to basically are you under oath? He asked the judge, are you under oath? So the judge says yes, because they're always going to try to not even ignore that question. He said he got him to say yes somehow, and then he brought up the questions and he locked it in, and they ended up arresting that judge. There was a bunch of people, media there, everyone going crazy. They arrested the judge because he was able to get him under his oath to say, this is your oath, but yet you did this. You violated this, therefore that you're going to jail. And it was brilliantly done, and he understood the law, he understood how to use those instruments. So that's a rare situation where someone knows how to get someone like that. But they're in their own laws and their own tools, there's ways to get them. But most people don't bother to even know that stuff, so they're not going to know. They're going to rely on the lawyer, and the lawyer is only going to know what he knows, and his main strategy. Oh, what judge is it, so I can bribe the guy or something. So it's sad. It's not about law or proof or anything like that. It's about who you know and the access you have to convince that judge to give you leniency or whatever.
Hmm. I mean, I just don't trust none of this stuff. Period. It's all crookery to me. I just,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah. It's just, Azrun, did you have something, man?
Uh, yeah, I generally see in India the corruption levels are so bad. The ones in power, they're more corrupt than the gangsters. Like there's a saying in India, like um police ಅವರು ರೌಡಿಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಇನ್ನ ದೊಡ್ಡ rowdy. Like there's a saying like that. The cops actually can become bigger gangsters than the gangsters themselves,
Mm.
because I've seen them. They'll they'll extort money from many people, and then they'll become guns for hire for a particular mafia gang to get rid of the other gang. And how corrupt the judges are.
Yeah.
The CBI is like the FBI in the USA, the Central Bureau of Investigation. Even they too can be bought and sold actually. So the thing is, they actually like give tips to the politicians when there's a raid, because politicians hide the black money sometimes in certain locations or in their houses. So these people only tip them, look, you're going to be raided, and then they'll shift the money off to some other place and they won't get caught only. It's very sickening actually what happens, MD.
Yeah.
Always the people in power are the ones who are extremely wealthy. They tend to abuse their power a lot. You were right when you said that these rich people are actually creepy in the inside.
Yeah.
Money corrupts them.
Well, I don't know if money corrupts them. I think they're corrupted or drawn to money. So
Well,
like
here's the
Yeah.
difference. They're allowed to be rich. You cannot be a billionaire for no reason, right? They're allowed to. Why? Because they're conforming to something. That's the only
The,
reason why they have money.
well, you
Us,
can be a
we go
millionaire.
against the grain. That's why we're poor. We stay
the
against the
Not
grain. The
necessarily.
yeah.
second you flip,
Look,
yeah.
McAfee went against the grain and he was a billionaire.
But the thing is, rich
No, well,
actually,
yeah, but he flipped at some point. I
But
mean,
the thing is he got rich. I
no,
mean,
he was not a billionaire. No, 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 he was never a billionaire.
well, we
He
can
got
make a
screwed on
couple of
that deal.
$1 million without being, we don't have to be corrupt.
No, he was not a billionaire. They screwed him on that deal.
But when
He
you
had to
get to a
flee,
certain
basically.
level, yeah. If you to get to a certain level, once you get past a certain amount, yeah, they're not going to let you, you're going to get a visit. The thing is $10 million, why would you need more? When you think about it, it's like, yeah, but I wanted to
You'd have to live very conservatively on that.
I could live for the rest of my life on $1.5 million. It would be frugal, but I would be happy. And that's if I live for another, 30 years or something, if that's possible. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years? When they talk about, well, people not going to have to work, what do you think? They're just going to give you free stuff? They're going to kill you. They're going to be like, look, everybody here, come into this building and you ain't coming back out. And people think that, oh no, Musk is going to give us stuff. This guy is basically the equivalent of the devil, of what people call demons and
He's
stuff.
like, look, we got to leave now and go to Mars.
Yeah, I mean, this guy.
What?
Yeah. Well, that's what he's trying to say. I mean, anybody trying to. This is why I don't believe anything they say. But there was a word I was trying to find, right? Because I remember it was, I don't know if it was Arabic scholars or something Persian. I think they call it like al-Mujiz or al-Kalak, but it's I've been trying with AI, I might be able to find it. I heard about it years ago, and it was something about, it refers to a high quality of poetry as lawful magic. So it's like a type of miraculous, implying that words have the power to transform reality, change perspectives, and make the impossible seem real. Is there any type of word for these writers in Hindu or Sanskrit that you know of, Azran?
a word.
A
Well,
word that describes like something. The premise is writing, certain writers, like they can write things that can actually bring things into existence. Is there a word for these type of writers?
okay, but what I say will sound crazy. The word will become true if there are certain what do you call that? I forgot. There are certain objects that they will have to wear. Those objects will be energized. When they're energized, you won't age and you will remain young forever. Whatever you say will become true. Like, let's say you say that this house will be set on fire, it will really be set on fire. You should be very careful what you say. So those
What are these things that they're wearing? What are they,
yeah,
crystal?
it's energized. It's energized so that whatever they say comes true.
How
So
is
if
it
they bless,
energized?
I don't know how they energize it,
All right,
but
well, all
some
right, then what are they energizing? A crystal, a necklace? Like, what is it that they have to energize?
bangles. They'll wear the bangles on their
Okay, on their hands. So
ankles.
bangles made out of gold?
uh, Five types of metals, gold included: gold, iron, and it's called Panchaloha.
Okay, now
Where
that's
that
what somebody says. Is there some word for writers that what they were saying in this Persian thing was they had writers writing words on paper, or maybe it's a certain type of paper or a tablet. The power of the writing somehow can possibly bring things into existence. Like just
yeah,
like you're
yeah,
saying, you got to be careful with the words. Is there
yeah.
one for the writer?
Uh,
Oh God.
there are objects that can make whatever you say and think materialize into real life. I don't know the process that they do for that, but yeah, there are some things like that. You don't need to. There's no magic word over here. Everything that you
Ezra,
says
hold on.
becomes magic.
Ezra,
Hmm.
he's asking you, what's the name? Is there a term for people that write things into existence? Is there a term? Is there a word? Is there a phrase? Is there something referencing that?
Yeah, that's called Vak Siddhi, power of speech. Vak Siddhi, whatever
Voxity?
is.
No, we're not
Wait,
talking about the
Vox?
power of speech. We're talking about the
Yeah,
power of writing.
power of writing also. Yeah, there is something that can bring it into real life, but you should be very careful. There are objects that can materialize your thoughts.
What is the
So
name of the writers?
uh, I forgot. I'll find out
Okay.
and tell you. But
And the
I'll
speaker,
find out about
the
this.
speaker is Vox Shadi, you said something like that?
Vak Siddhi means, let's say I
Vox
curse
Siddhi.
you or I bless you. I have the power of speech to do whatever I want. That is known as Vak Siddhi.
Okay. No, I'll definitely. I've been trying to find it for over a decade. I saw it a long time ago, and I was like, man, what is that word again? Um, about being able to write stuff, and it's reality altering creativity that might be
Yeah.
described through like a metaphysical or rhetoric focused term. So yeah, I was just trying to figure it out. But AI is actually getting me closer to possibly finding that word if I can really remember what it was. But it was the fact that they have this type of stuff, it really makes you wonder. Because I remember Native Americans had a thing where they said, yeah, what is it that these people think they can write something on a piece of paper and it has this magical power to, automatically they say, they own something or stuff like that. But yeah, I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
MD, I need to go. I need to
Yeah,
charge
yeah.
my phone. I'm at 1%.
Always
I'll
a
try to
pleasure.
come back again if you're still on the show.
Yeah, take care, man. Now I'll be going to bed soon, man. But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Bye, Scribe. Bye, Mr. X. Bye, MD.
Hey,
Take
have a
care.
good night, Azarun. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna probably hit the hay soon too
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, Timbo said so many heads of state were involved in the Panama Papers scandal like 10 years ago. It was about parking the money they stole. Wow.
Mm,
And
good
Guy
point.
is right. Yeah, talismans. Yeah, man. I got to look into some of that stuff. Man, I was trying to, and I was saying this show will be quick, and it's like the same time last night. It's like 2:50 something. I got to get ready, man. If you guys want to stay on and talk, I don't know,
Yeah, let's
I
Scribe.
wrap it
gotta
up.
hit the
Wrap it up.
hay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, man.
Great job, though, MD. Great having you on, Scribe.
Thanks, man.
Always
Always
a
a
good
pleasure,
show.
bro. Always,
Yeah.
man.
Got to keep it rolling, you know. I try to get on
Yeah.
as much as I
Yeah, man.
can. When I'm at work, it's a little difficult, but
Yeah. No,
I try and
definitely,
sneak
man.
on.
Yeah. Tomorrow I'll see if I can put a video out and then see with stream, Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much, man. Scribe, Mr. X, as Varun, thank you guys for coming on. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Have a great night, everyone.
All right. Take care.